Because of faults all over the world, there is no longer any safe place left in it. In order to save humanity from the rifts, a newly formed association of users with abilities became the leaders of this world. To earn wealth and honor, many families were set up to work with the association, and these same families were assigned special training to prepare hunters. However, those families who craved only power began to emerge, and among them was the worst. What was the God Sword family's creed, Beck? Shouted the man nervously. Nervous in the back of his mind, the voice told the lad, strength and orders from his family above all else. That's why Beck Woo-jin is in this situation, a damn weakling. The guy should be ashamed of himself. He is part of the divine sword. Beck, one would think that Woo-jin is considered weaker than those who are still learning. The boy sat embittered on his knees, and remembered his family's credo, force and orders above all else. John muttered. Beck Ho-jun smirked and showed the guy the decree to banish Beck Woo-jin from the Beck Divine Sword family. A joyful Beck Ho-jun smiled and told the guy that the elder had confirmed his exile. Trash like Woo-jin has no right to be a part of this family. Only 3 people didn't give their consent to expel the guy from the family. Such a useless lowlife like Woo-jin has no place in the family of Divine Sword. Beck, throwing the ruling out to the guy's face, Beck Ho-jun said. The elder personally gave his consent to the lad's banishment. This was the father he idolized but disappointed. Beck Ho-jun laughed in Woo-jin's face, in addition to being personally allowed to put the ruling in the guy's hands. The gentleman who came in a rage couldn't control himself. Because of what happened, he wanted to fight with Beck Ho-jun and his cronies. That's why Beck Ho-jun said Jin should just work outside. What's the point of him training with the rest of the guys? Beck Woo-jin only reached the first rank of swordsman by the age of 24, and Beck Ho-jun got that rank at the age of 14. That's why the guy is so disrespected. Beck Ho-jun gave a command to his classmates to twist Woo-jin and fulfill 2 conditions. The guy came in furious, didn't understand what was going on, what Beck and his friends wanted from him. Kneeling down, he threatened them, even though he realized he couldn't manage under the pressure of 2 guys. If the master keeps kicking around like this, Beck Ho-jun and his cronies might accidentally slip up. They have no choice but to take everything that this family bestowed upon Beck Woo-jin. There are 2 conditions for exorcism. Remove the vein from the Lord's right hand that he swings the sword with, and explode his heart aura. Isn't that easy? Said Beck to the guy. With tears in his eyes, Woo-jin didn't understand why such a harsh punishment. In desperation, the guy tried to escape from them. Damn bastards, I tried my best not to besmirch the family's name, Woo-jin said to Beck Ho-jun's cronies as he tried to break free from their grip. Even though they treated Woo-jin like a piece of shit, even though the guy has no talent, he put in his best effort, trying harder than anyone. Beck Ho-jun's patience ran out. He hit Beck Woo-jin on emotion and he flew back a couple of meters. We can't let outsiders make a scene, said Shoshan-yoon, using fire magic on his hand. Beck Ho-jun and his cronies, only doing what they are told to do, hating the guys too much will be too much. The guys decided to do their bidding, starting with Beck Woo-jin's aura, heart hammering so hard that the blood began to boil. From the incredible pain in his chest, Woo-jin started squirming, not knowing how to endure such pain, spitting out blood on the floor. A year later, after bad events for the Lord, the lad became the swordsman of a great family. There was horror in the city, orcs were killing people, buildings were burning, people were fleeing from what was happening, but not everyone managed to survive. Help me, screamed in fear the guy, seeing the orc in front of him. Not knowing where to go, he realized that this was the end. Buildings and stores collapsed, the fire was so strong that people could not see which way to run and died falling to the ground. Those who managed to stay alive were cornered by the orcs. The men were mangled or burned in the fire. A year after Woo-jin's banishment from the Divine Sword Beck family, what he thought couldn't get any worse continued to get even more horrible. Beck Woo-jin, terrified of what was happening, thought it was the worst moment of his life, but he realized that it wasn't. It was just another day in Jen's life. As a misfit in the alleys, the rift proved to be much bigger than all the others. In Korea, through that very rift in the sky, orcs would jump to the ground, hoping to destroy the country and kill as many civilians as possible. A catastrophe that even the Ability Users Association couldn't predict. Serious danger. From seeing the size of this rift, Woo-jin rushed to run away just like the other people, for fear that nothing would happen to him. Beck Woo-jin, who ran around the corner, froze in a stupor from the large number of corpses he saw in front of him. Hearing footsteps behind him, Beck Woo-jin was afraid to admit that the giant orc behind the guy's back was a giant orc, the chief of all the orcs that had arrived on this land. The orc tried to hit the guy, but because of the guy's reaction speed, the orc missed. In his present condition, can the gentleman even survive until the association arrives? The guy realized that even if he tried to run away, the orc would catch up with him immediately, thanks to his size. Without a vein in Baekwoojin's right arm and aura, he doesn't get to kill him. He's not that strong. The guy only has a chance. Try to survive before the association comes. Grabbing the pipe, the Lord tried to hit the giant, but the effect was almost non-existent because the orc was many times stronger than the guy. The moment the orc grabbed the boy, he only remembered his one desire for revenge against Rong Shi and his cronies for expelling him from his family, confirming the compatibility of the goal, beginning to walk the path of 1,000 swords, connecting Baekwoojin and the Blackstone magic sword. Baekwoojin, who has obtained the title of magic sword wielder, now has a better chance of defeating Rong Shi's team. Waking up in a sweat, shivering with fear, the guy didn't immediately realize reality. But later coming to his senses, Baekwoojin realized that reality, it was just a scary dream. I didn't die at the hands of that ogre giant, the Lord thought, not realizing what had even happened to him. What was that just now? The guy thought. Looking at his arm, he didn't see a scar on the hand. Wait, this is the room I lived in, Baekwoojin shouted, feeling the strength of the vein and the aura inside. The guy's phone rang and he saw the date on the screen, 2020, meaning Baekwoojin had regressed 10 years back. It wasn't even funny. How could this even happen? The guy thought. Master had returned to the divine swordback family that had taken away absolutely everything from him. This was the moment when the guy lost everything. Why did this all happen? Wu Jin wondered. Anyway, as he went back in time, he can feel everything and doesn't believe it's a dream. Slapping yourself in the face, you're out of your mind. Turning around, the guy heard someone talking to him. My master, this time an inexperienced little child, smirked and said to Blackstone, well, whoever this young guy is, since they have the contract already in effect, they should introduce themselves to each other. The guy froze in a stupor when he heard that Blackstone was a great magical sword that turned royal families upside down. What kind of contract? And some kind of magic sword? Baekwoojin has never been involved in something like this. He can't even believe it's 2020. Blackstone marveled at the lad's little calmness, usually a gentleman of his years throwing tantrums. Looks like the gentleman has a head on his shoulders, Blackstone said with a smile. Their souls were bound through the sword magic contract. Baekwoojin became Mr. Blackstone, and he became responsible for the guy's training and growth. The young lad didn't believe Blackstone's words, stopping him and asking him to repeat what he said. Blackstone asked the guy to say the words, a status window that would surprise him. Baekwoojin pondered and thought it must be a dream and went to sleep. Maybe it's similar to that state where your whole life flashes before your eyes before you die, but even so, the guy doesn't remember anything like that. Baekwoojin did well. Magic swords and contracts. Pick a random person and play it out that way. Not everyone can do it. This wasn't exactly the reaction Blackstone had expected from the young gentleman, but he still asked him to say the words of the status window once more, then he should understand. Ducking his head, the gentleman thought that if he uttered those words, he would once again be fooled by the foolish Baekwoojin. Baekwoojin, right? Smiling and rephrasing, that's who you're afraid of, Blackstone asked the young master. The boy lay under the blanket, with his eyes and mouth wide open. To his surprise, he realized that Blackstone knew something about the abuser, the person the guy wants to make him pay for his shame, who Baekwoojin wants to overpower. Blackstone promised to help his young master deal with Baekwoojin. Hearing this made the boy jump up from the bed. Of course, and it was contracted for. No one can beat Baekwoojin, but on the condition that the guy trusts Blackstone. He's telling the truth, the lad thought. The Lord's aggression definitely doesn't make sense, but it still happened, the kind of chance he desperately needed. Those damn bastards. Wu Jin tried his best not to tarnish his family's name, remembered the moment when everything happened. Furious, the young lord realized that he had an opportunity to take revenge on the family of the divine sword Beck. The Lord does not fully believe Blackstone's words, however if he does what the Lord desires, the lad will believe him. Bowing his head, Blackstone agreed. This agreement should be enough. The master shouted the status window, and a panel opened in front of him, with Baekwoojin's basic information, age, title, features, and skills of his assailant. The guy couldn't believe his eyes, for even Baekwoojin's characteristics, physical strength, swordsmanship, mana, stamina, and mindset were revealed in front of him. Blackstone thought so. The characteristics of young lads evoke pity, all apart from their thinking, lower rank. But turning back to Blackstone, the lad saw how drastically changed his appearance. Yes, that's the reason why Blackstone is trying to make strong his master, all because Baekwoojin is so weak. Blackstone showed his original form, in the form of his sword, the power he has is reflected in Blackstone's appearance. Incredibly, the man actually became a small sword, Baek-woo-jin said, looking at little Blackstone with wide-open eyes. That's what the contract is about. To restore Blackstone's power, he needs to raise his master's level. Ridiculous. Jen Jong has no talent whatsoever. He will die of old age even before Blackstone regains his old power. It's not fun at all to meet a lord who is already strong. It's much more fun to level up a clean slate like a lord. A lord must suffer through hardship to achieve his goals. Like Blackstone, who suffered for 200 years, he has no intention of taking the easy way out. The gentleman thought that maybe Blackstone had regressed him to give him another chance. All right, Blackstone, I'll perform the sword magic contact on you. Smiling fiercely, the lord said. Well, answered Blackstone, now they need to learn the first step. Endurance is a national strength. An untrained swordsman has no right to hold a blade. Through basic training, the lord's stamina and body will be developed until he can hold a sword. The benefits of the task: during the task, Baek-woo-jin's stamina and physical Baek-woo-jin will increase a lot. The reward of 300 points, the title. The young gentleman still isn't sure if all of this makes sense. The status window and the assignment. Experience points and rewards, it's all exactly like in video games, the guy thought to himself. The gentleman generally got the point. The status box will display the best practices for his growth as it is now. It looks outdated but suits this time period. Holographic message. The means of contacting the owner always varied. For some it was a collection of books, for others a letter. The lord's method of growth is not so important. Even if he has changed, the method remains the same. Required to continuously push the boundaries without rest. If Woo-jin follows Blackstone, even a dumbest like him will be hailed as a genius. The master once again wondered why among all the people, he was the one who was contracted. After all, a person like Baek-woo-jin could be found absolutely everywhere. Blackstone's reason for making a contract with the lord and the desire for the magic sword will be revealed at the end of this challenge. It's time for range training, endurance, national strength. The mission has begun. I'm frustrated. Get your body in the right position. You're breathing wrong. You're not bending your knees right. Blackstone tells the gentleman trying to teach him. Hey, you told me to just run, nothing more, and no physical activity, shouted the gentleman to his teacher. What is the gentleman talking about? If one could get stronger from just running, everyone could be the best. Blackstone was telling the guy to push his limits. The guy should stop whining, saying useless things and adopt the correct body position, the most important being the tilt of the sword angle. The gentleman is not breathing correctly. This was not included during practice. Bending his knees incorrectly. This will not be included during practice either, the teacher tells the guy. Shut up, we'll see yet who comes out the winner, shouted the gentleman angrily at Blackstone. No matter how Blackstone looks at it, it never ceases to be interesting. Why the gentleman has everything on the lowest level and thinking on such a high level, the teacher wondered. Baek-woo-jin has a strong determination towards something the teacher thinks is related to Baek-ho-jung. Stop, what's going on? Where is so much hate coming from? A surprised face shouted Blackstone, not knowing where so much came from. How could so much hatred fill his entire body? Could such an amount of hatred even accumulate in a 15-year-old boy? The teacher thought. Now that the teacher thinks about it, he began to understand what happens when he first meets the master while the master has finished training. Damn, it's hard enough to run at your top speed, but to have 15 more laps. Blackstone reflected. Baek-woo-jin almost died before pushing his limits. Does it really work? The guy isn't just wasting his energy. The panting gentleman completed the whole task, came running and lay down on the ground. He did everything Blackstone told him to do, only in his pride and thinking he is sure. Aren't those two things, pride and thinking? The teacher thought of the young master's words. It was the guy's endurance limit. If he tried harder he would lose efficiency, and if he tried harder he would get injured. The master asked to see his status. Everything from the characteristics of the gentleman to his temperament. The teacher is connected to the guy's soul, so he can see everything. The past limits and workout section shows that the guy's stamina and physicality has improved to level 1. The gentleman claimed to himself that he has no talent, but that's not true. The guy has pride and a mindset, which are talent and opportunity. The excited Baek-woo-jin didn't understand what talent and opportunity was. This was the first time he had heard of it, and the first time he was holding out his hand for a reward for his efforts. Blackstone did make sure that developmentally the gentleman was only 15 years old, and said that the training was over for the day. The boy wanted to run some more, but Blackstone was against it, so that the gentleman's body would not suffer from such exertion. Baek-woo-jin, with no idea what the teacher is talking about, is not in any pain at all. He even feels light, and that feeling feels like the jam door has finally opened. No, it's not usual for a characteristic to grow in half a day, but for the body to become stronger as well, the teacher thought. The change in characteristics now is unpredictable. Who knows what will happen to the Lord's body with prolonged training? A young guy asked Blackstone if he knew why his performance had improved so quickly. The teacher gave the guy assignments and said that their souls are connected, but Blackstone is only connected to the master through the assignment system. The teacher's soul is inside a sword made by someone. Since then he has learned many sword skills and training techniques. Blackstone wanted to ask the gentleman something. He feels an unusual amount of hatred from the gentleman. This emotion of hatred, which had been so easy for 15 years, was growing inside the guy. Baekwoojin had forgotten that their souls were connected to Blackstone and that the teacher could sense everything. He didn't want to tell him everything. And the teacher knows the reason too, but the boy believes that if he tells Blackstone everything, he can help him. He spent hundreds of years living the spirit life, then master definitely needs to tell everything to the teacher. This guy annoys Baekwoojin in so many ways. After swinging his sword so many fucking times, he saw his abuser in training. That bitch is running around like a little fucker, Baekwoojin said to the gentleman he humiliated with his cronies in the future. Before his master returned, he had humiliated him to such an extent that he would never be able to wash away the shame. If a guy has no talent whatsoever, then just as a job he needs to wipe someone's ass for what he's even going to train for. Baekwoojin offered to train with Jian Zhong and check out the results of this pathetic workout. Why is Baekwoojin here? The master wondered. He should be doing roll call right now, right? Your Hyungnim are here, the lad said to the Lord, ordering him to bow his head before Baek cut off Jian's head. Their sweet Magni, he only listens when he's being told off. And what does the gentleman do? Shouldn't he be practicing now? Baekwoojin asked the guy. Who is this eel-looking loser? Blackstone wondered. This is Mrs. Hyun, the 6th child, Baekwoojin, of the great sword family, the royal family. Sir, this is the man he was talking about when he signed with Blackstone. What a bore he is. Looks like the gentleman will catch up with him in no time. Only, of course, if Baekwoojin follows his teacher's training diligently. Blackstone boy climbed on Baekwoojin's back and started to finger his eyes and mouth, fooling around with him. Baekwoojin, laughing so hard, he wants to be beaten so hard and as fast as possible. He should better shut up, said the girl. Their father is coming soon. The guy should behave a little more quietly, said the direct heiress of the Baek divine sword family, Baekwoon Kwang's 2nd child. Baekwoon Kyung heard that this evening the master will be having an aura manifestation ceremony. Their father will be watching this performance. The master should try not to disappoint their father. So today is the ceremony. Why among all the days? Baekwoojin regressed on this day, the guy thought with a sad face. When the elder came out, all the disciples and his children kneeled down and were silent until the elder passed. As the elder of all the boys passed, the lad introduced him to Blackstone and asked him what he thought of their father. The boy's teacher never thought there was someone as strong as their father in this world. Now he understands what his master was telling him. And not only is the elder a strong man, there are many strong like father here, but with the exception of Baekwoojin, complimented the Lord. But this was only the guy's first task, to raise his stamina and strength to level 15, so don't panic. Absolutely, since the gentleman has the benefit of this assignment, Blackstone thinks the lad will complete it quickly. That's why you can't forget that the journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first training sessions. Since the master has the benefits of accepting the task, he will finish it quickly. Baekwoojin is going to do it before the aura manifestation ceremony begins. But Blackstone thinks it's a fool's errand. It's ridiculous. No one has ever managed to complete it in one day. After listening to his teacher who said he would catch up with this bastard, the gentleman decided not to waste a moment and catch up with Baekwoojin as soon as possible. That crazy boy, if he exceeds his limits, he'll hurt himself. Clenched his teeth, said Blackstone, catching up with his master. The guy got a special title. There is such a student who ignores his coach. The level of physical strength increased, the level of endurance increased. The young lord managed to improve his stamina and physical strength in one go, +2 points to strength and +2 points to stamina, the guy got. The condition of the task was determined to be fulfilled. There used to be a lot of crazy scum among the owners of Blackstone. The master got his reward, 300 points. His stamina recovery rate was increased 5 times. The guy surpassed his limits. He can't get injured during training. Baekwoojin himself didn't know he was capable of such a thing, but Blackstone didn't expect such skills from the Lord either. Baekwoojin received a notification that his closeness with Blackstone had been upgraded. He was surprised at the news. Blackstone told the guy that increasing their level of intimacy was one of the conditions in the signed contract between them. Even if this system suitable for modern times, Isn't it just a dating stimulant? The teacher thought. If Woojin can't get closer to Blackstone, he would never let the guy borrow his power. The guy thought about all this news, and thought it was all nonsense. He was probably dying right now, and it was all his death dream. Woojin, what the heck is this? The gentleman was awarded an extra 200 points due to observing his teacher's shock. The gentleman shocked Blackstone, so he received a 200-point award. How was that even possible? Taking the teacher's head was beyond me. Blackstone started punching the young lord in a rage, not realizing who he even was, how he was able to get such an award. In despair, the teacher said that his honor as a magic sword has only disintegrated by 3 chapters. How humiliating, but the guy thinks it's all because of his new small stature. Basic information of the gentleman. Woojin, age 15, second magic sword wielder, without having any techniques. The guy got 500 points for this task. Blackstone advised the young apprentice to raise his stamina and physical strength to 20 for now, then both characteristics would be of low rank. The young master followed the teacher's advice and increased the given characteristics. After, the master wants to see the difference and will keep the rest of the points. The guy feels an incredible pain, as if his entire body is collapsing. The lord's rank of physical strength and stamina have been upgraded to a low rank. This unbearable pain that the guy felt had just abruptly stopped, Woojin thought to himself as he looked at his hand. Now the young master realized how weak his body was. Luckily he can bear it, Blackstone said cheerfully. The boy still didn't fully understand the teacher's words, and kept asking him questions. What if Woojin didn't have the strength to endure it all? But Blackstone answered nothing to his apprentice, and the two of them went off to the ceremony. It was finally time for the final ceremony of manifesting the direct heir's aura, and the entire family had gathered in the hall. The elder's first child, Yunhu, failed her. He thinks the whole family should know about it. This guy is the son of an elder, a straight then divine sword family Beck, the third child of Baek Sung-hyun. The girl with ponytails on her head is a direct descendant of divine sword Beck's family, Beck, so he's fifth child, and the girl with straight hair is a direct descendant of divine sword Beck, Baek Sung-a's fourth child. A voice in the hall shouted that there was no need for further delays. Woojin should begin the procedure. Aura manifestation ceremony before regression. At this age, Mr. couldn't manifest anything. After being treated like garbage by the people around the Lord for so long, he finally manifested an aura, at the age of 24. And even then it turned out to be a useless white aura. But the guy sighed, thought, and decided he could do it. A new task has appeared. All magic sword wielders should be different. The guy needs to activate his aura through the dantian instead of the heart. Benefits of accepting a quest. Activating a unique aura. Reward 8 points. Mana sensitivity ability. Radical progress in concentration. After reading the assignment, the guy didn't understand the simple words. Manifest his aura not through his heart but through his dantian. Woojin must trust his teacher and complete the task. The guy must have an aura befitting a magic sword wielder. Well, that would be different from most people in the Lord's world. Experts usually go their own way. Blackstone complimented. The teacher told the guy that even if Woojin doesn't accept the assignment, then he will give him a unique aura. The master wants to try it, especially since the assignment said that it promotes the guy's growth. The direct descendants of the divine sword Beck family were surprised from seeing the black color of the guy's aura, saying that it was a demonic color, and it was bad. Inside that bastard's aura, said the direct descendant of divine sword Beck, Baek Sung-a's fourth child. I don't know how you managed to get the demonic aura. I will destroy you, said Baek-kyung, the direct heir of the divine sword family, jumping up and swinging her sword. Baek Sung-hyun, from seeing what his sister wanted to do, stood up for the young master. Drawing his sword, he blocked Baek-kyung's blow. The angry girl shouted for Baek Sung-hyun to move away and not let her sister finish her work if she didn't want to die with the master. The black aura, it was the energy of a demon. He had gotten the power of a demonic family. The guy didn't even imply about such a thing. What do you mean demonic family? Baek Sung-hyun asked his sister. It's just a black aura after all. Nothing more. Demon energy, the Lord pondered, but the lad was sure of Blackstone he had contracted. He spoke of the aura of the magic sword. But the gentleman's aura does not contain demonic energy. Please take a closer look, Blackstone added. I've never heard of a person using black aura energy, said Baek-kyung, the direct heiress of the divine sword family, the second child. If Baek Sung-hyun doesn't step back and stop protecting Woojin, Baek-kyung will stab him with his sword, the first one. The elder was quietly watching everything that was happening, not realizing when he had time to allow Baek-kyung to pull out his sword. After using his magic to calm the fight between brother and sister, the elder asked Eun-kyung when he was the one who said she could kill her brother. Baek-eun-kyung tilted her head and apologized to the elder, saying that she was too hasty. Look at it with your own eyes, the elder said to his daughter. This is endless pure mana, which is different from the energy of a demon from the demonic family. Just like the third child said, the color is different, it's the power manifested from mana with a trained aura. The elder knows that Baek-eun-kyung holds a strong grudge against the demon family, but with such a careless attitude, she will eventually lose her head to her. For pulling out the sword, the elder ordered Baek-eun-kyung to undergo meditation for 6 months. The troubled girl bowed her head in resentment and self-loathing for the ridiculous act, answered well, and hurried away from the hall. As expected, he's looking out for Baek-eun-kyung. If it were me in her place, I wouldn't be on my feet anymore, the young student said. With proper clothing and a reliable reward system, what Baek Woo-jin needs to do to take down this family is to become the strongest. The elder did not see the black aura but sensed an exceptional energy from it, and he congratulated the lord. But why is the young master storing his mana in Dantian? Asked the elders. The guy, the brothers and sisters, who were watching the whole scene at the ceremony, were surprised at what they heard, with their mouths wide open. What was to be expected? The elder knew that Woo-jin had released his mana through the Dantian. The guy would need to think carefully about what to answer him. If Baek Woo-jin didn't provide the elder with an acceptable answer, 100% father would destroy his aura, once and for all. Because I am different from my siblings, I have not inherited the talent of the Baek family, with a sad face, said Mr. to his father. The guy's body is weak and his heart is not very active. Problems appear when his heart senses and uses mana. Therefore, Baek Woo-jin built his own path, and began to store his mana in Dantian instead of in his heart. So is the guy going to follow the will of those who were expelled, the trash who can't train his heart and store his mana in Dantian? The elder asked. Baek Ho-jun knows he did a foolish thing by circling around 2 vital points, but by following his method, he will become stronger than anyone. The guy doesn't need to explain himself, he'll prove everything with his results. The elder was angry, but he didn't mind. The master is very cocky, so his father likes him even more. But Baek Ho-jun needs to rise above his 7 siblings, and reach the highest place in the 7 divine sword Baek, becoming stronger than all kin. But if the lad doesn't, he'll either die or live his horrible life, the elder told his son. An exasperated yet joyful Baek Woo-jin, upon hearing his father's words, simply asked to keep an eye on him and nothing more. After the elder's approval to his son, today's manifestation ceremony ended. It was already surprising that Baek Woo-jin showed an aura, but in addition, it turned out to be black, said the third child of the divine sword royal family, Baek So-hyun. And during all this, Eun-kyung wanted to kill the lord. When Seo-hyun thinks about it, was he training his aura through Dantian? Today was more amazing than the day the dungeon opened. The guy's body had improved a lot, in addition to softening his reaction to mana. How did the gentleman strengthen his body so quickly? It wasn't like this during the last inspection, Baek Sung-hyun said to his brother. Baek Woo-jin, not practicing with a sword, but just practicing his stamina. How unusual to hear this to Sung-hyun, someone who always practices fencing. But still, he didn't know that it was possible to do so much endurance training in 1 week. Anyway, just need to keep training like master did before. Baek Woo-jin, it suited him better. Yes, the guy will try his best, and that's what he said back to his father. As a token of goodwill, Sung-hyun gave his brother the stone. This Camilla stone that Sung-hyun got on the last mission, it will be a great help in stabilizing Woo-jin's aura. He will have to use it later. Even though this stone is very expensive, his brother gave it to the lord as a reward because of Woo-jin training so hard and so much. Baek Woo-jin, overjoyed at the emotion, thanked his brother Sung-hyun for giving him such a precious gift. Baek Myung-hun wasn't happy about all of this. The gentleman was so cocky talking to his father, boasting that he had just released his aura. Even though Woo-jin released his aura, but he will only be a first-ranked rogue swordsman, laying the lord on his back, Myung-hoon said. Baek Myung-hoon's middle brother Baek Woo-jin came to be furious and aggressive toward his brother Baek Woo-jin and suggested that he talk to his hyung in person. Baek Woo-jin refused to talk to his brother, but Baek Myung-hoon warned him to follow him while he was still being nice to Woo-jin. Unless the gentleman wants to sob like a baby again after a beating like last week. Unexpectedly, the guy got a new assignment, to defeat Baek Myung-hoon, from whom he suffered all his life. It's time for revenge. The reward for completing the task, 300 points, a surprise. Sometimes you will get unexpected tasks, however the rewards will be far beyond your expectations. It's not a bad thing to try once the reward is 300 points and a surprise, Blackstone told the student. Myung-hoon looked at everything going on, waiting for a response from Woo-jin, thinking that in his past life, he had felt too sorry for the lord, Who's to say that I wasn't the one who felt too sorry for you? Woo Jin calmly replied to his brother Myung-hoon, thinking that the task given to him was worth at least trying. Myung-hoon slapped his brother, sat down next to him, and told Woo Jin to decide now before they went to the warehouse. Master wants to be beaten until he passes out, or passes out from the beating, Hong offered him, taking his hand in the boy's hair. Baek Woo-jun said interesting things to his father. He would become stronger than anyone using his methods. But never such a thing will ever happen in life, bitch, Myung-hoon asserted to his brother, but the gentleman smilingly continued to snap at him, thus provoking his brother. Baek Myung-hoon thinks he should teach his brutes a lesson. What has changed since last week when Woo-jun listened to him? Baek Woo-jin, not confused by his brother Myung-hoon's punch, put a block in front of his face, thus blocking his punch. Myung-hun, seeing his brother's block, reacted and kicked him with his foot, saying that even so, the Lord would never be able to catch up with him. You should have just shut up and listened to me, kicked his brother Woo-jin in the face with all his might, and told him to listen carefully from now on. While the gentleman sat on his knees with his head tipped over, Baek Myung-hun told him off and berated him for being a worthless and pathetic piece of shit. With another kick to his brother's face, Myung-hoon wanted to immediately make sure that Woo-jin would never answer him again, and would know his place. But the enraged gentleman freaked out and took hold of Hong's leg and threw him into the wall with all his might. Myung-hoon, who had no time to stand, felt a leg kick from Baek Woo-jin on his bastard face. Myung-hoon now has a concussion from the blow to his jaw. He should have learned where it hurts the most when he gets hit. Well, now wait, let me beat you first. The Lord took hold of Hoon's head and told him. The gentleman successfully completed his task, got 300 points, and smiled with happiness as he waited for his surprise. To think the guy was waiting for the right moment to strike, Blackstone thought he'd just pass out and lose. And about him, he's no longer looking for a master when he wakes up. Baek Myung-hoon has an inflated self-esteem and a lot of fears. Baek Woo-jun doubts that Myung-hoon is going to come back and reveal his fear. Mr. Shaw, for now everything will be quiet. Blackstone turned to the gentleman, requesting that he be allowed to ask Baek Woo-jin one question. Including the swordsman they saw today, everyone in his family seems to have mana located around their heart. Why not here? Why do you store mana in her energy core? Blackstone asked young Master Baek Woo-jin. In the Baek Divine Sword family, it was recognized that it was more efficient this way, that it was easier to focus mana storage in one place, the guy replied. But still the gentleman accepted the task without any thought. Why? Blackstone wondered. If the guy continued to be as indecisive as he had been in the past, he wouldn't destroy his energy core like he had done before. But Baek Woo-jin was given a task that gave him an aura when he accumulated mana in his energy core. Since the aura in Blackstone's past life was useless, he was glad it worked out better this time. Wait, Baek Woo-jin, what did you just say? Say it again, thoughtfully asked his student teacher. If Woo-jun continued to be as indecisive as he was in the past, he wouldn't have destroyed his energy core in the past. Blackstone pondered. Yes, the Lord thinks it's pointless to hide it anymore. He wanted to tell his teacher someday anyway. Blackstone, Baek Woo-jung, lived 25 years, died, and then regressed into his 15-year-old body. The teacher looked at his young student, wide-eyed, swooning at the amazing story. Boy, because of his lack of talent, the lad was considered a burden on the family from birth. He was not treated normally by his siblings, and as a result he was constantly beaten. Then, at the age of 25, the Lord was thrown out of his family, taking away his vein and aura in the process, and then a huge rift appeared in the sky, from behind which a giant orc emerged. Baek Woo-jin died that day, joyfully, almost forgotten for the hurt and pain from his family, replied the boy to his teacher. While recounting details about the past, the guy's past, bad memories flashed of how he was treated. Young Blackstone hesitated from hearing his pupil's story and simply said that, so it was true after all. Yes, that's right. And when Baek Woo-jin regressed, he met his new teacher Blackstone. Now everything was starting to make sense. That was why the master was able to accept the task so easily. Then what was Woo-jin's purpose? Surprised the gentleman, not even knowing what Blackstone was talking about or what to answer him. The guy has such a strong ally in the form of a teacher he didn't have in his past life. Doesn't Baek Woo-jin have a goal he wants to achieve? Mr. Bad Luck, the family of the Divine Sword Baek, it all started here. The guy is out for revenge. He wants to become the strongest swordsman, defeat his father, become an elder, and change this damn family from the inside out. Blackstone laughed and said he thought so. The way the lad thinks, the teacher likes the lad's answer. That's the way a gentleman should be. By the way, Baek Woo-jin's regression has nothing to do with their contract, but it's already happened. Not only would the master become stronger than Baek Ho-jun, who they talked about in their first meeting with the teacher, but the Blackstone guy would make the guy stronger than his father and all the swordsmen in the world. It's all up to Baek Woo-jin, but it won't be possible if the guy doesn't achieve his goals set by his teacher. The guy has a good fighting attitude, he's ready for their accomplishments. No, he's already in the process of accomplishing them. Baek Woo-jin is like a magic sword. Blackstone will tell him again as his owner. He will make the guy the strongest swordsman in the world. Surprise task rewards are available. The gentleman needs to trust his luck and choose one of the cards offered to him. It's a surprise task reward. Before getting the aura reward, the guy needs to practice some more. The reward is random because the task appeared randomly as well. The status window, the assignment, and now a kind of lottery, as if Baek Woo-jin is in some kind of game. Both the front and back of the cards look the same. The gentleman will only know what's in it when he picks either one. Blackstone was telling the guy that his past master had bad luck all the time, so Baek Woo-jin didn't think long and picked one of the cards. Thanks to the card that young Baek Woo-jin chose, a ball fell to him. Not understanding what was going on, the boy thought, this pill, in the form of a ball, will permanently increase the Lord's susceptibility to mana, the teacher said. How did a cheesy person like Baek Woo-jin get such a priceless item? Coming to a stupor of surprise, asked Blackstone to the guy. The Lord didn't immediately understand what it meant, but the teacher said that if the guy increased his susceptibility to mana, it would become much easier for him to sense auras. The guy hesitated and didn't know what to do, but if he ate this pill, his aura would grow several times. Just in case, Baek Woo-jin checked with the teacher. This pill didn't have any side effects, but Blackstone said that it was a priceless thing that had no side effects. Blackstone remembers how a young apprentice was injured as he grew up. For example, when Baek Woo-jin first raised his performance. All because the young body master's condition was shitty. But the guy said he doesn't care, as long as the pill is without any side effects, he'll eat the pill. Baek Woo-jin doesn't feel anything after taking the pill, only because his susceptibility to mana is too low. The more the Lord grows, the more effects there will be, so he shouldn't worry about that. Either way, the guy did a good job today. He needs to rest, and tomorrow Blackstone will teach him how to accumulate mana. But the master does not want to rest, and wants to start today. The teacher reacted angrily, starting to mother the student to rest until tomorrow. Wasn't it Blackstone who said the guy's recovery was 5 times faster due to the title effect, and now he's mothering his student? Baek Woo-jin suggested that the two of them calm down and start working on the rest of their work, but at this time, someone was peeking through the window behind the student. After watching the elder's son, Moon Joo-yoon of the Dark Sword Squad came to pay his respects to the elder. The elder was waiting for news from Moon Joo-yoon, and he witnessed an incident that he was obliged to report. Young Master Woo-jin defeated young Master Myung-hoon. They fought though without swords, but Myung-hoo, a second-ranked swordsman, lost to his brother. Despite the fact that Woo-jin doesn't even know how to use his aura properly, the elder asked. Young Master Woo-jin defended himself, and waited for young Master Myung-hoon to lose his balance to change things. Bowing his head, said Moon Joo-yoon. The elder believes that Myung-hoon underestimated his brother Woo-jin because of this, but the father asked where his losing son is now. After Myung-hoon lost, he woke up and went into his room and never came out of it again. His father called him a pathetic coward because he didn't even order him to isolate himself. The elder asked where Woo-jin is now, but Joo-yoon isn't sure where he is, but he thinks the guy is also in his room and has been practicing all this time. The children's father thought he would be bored watching what was going on, but an interesting change occurred in his view. He gave the order to immediately call Myung-hoon to him. The losing son sat resentful in his room, with thoughts of taking revenge on his brother Baek Woo-jin, promising to prepare the ground for him. The next day, the Lord asked the teacher that if he wanted to unlock the aura from the quest, then he should stabilize the mana in his dantian. Baek Woo-jin thought about it yesterday, but young master thinks there's an easy way to do it. Blackstone, in misunderstanding, asked the student, "What's the easy way? What do you want to do?" Now that the guy knows how to accumulate mana, he should try to use this method. Blackstone realizes that the Lord greatly hates the family of Divine Sword Baek, but isn't this stone a gift from his older brother? Why did he break it? But the teacher misunderstood the master because Baek Woo-jin really likes his older brother Sung-hyun. And that's the way to use Camille's stone. The currently known way to use it is to hold Camille's stone while practicing. If Camilla's stone is broken, the condensed mana will spread throughout the sealed area, the young lord complimented. Blackstone doesn't believe that such a bizarre object exists, but in this state, Woo-jin will be able to train his aura and absorb the mana hovering in the air. After the guy focused and tried to inhale mana, his mana characteristic increased by 5, due to absorbing a huge amount of mana. Camille's stone was used for the first time. 200 points were given to the young gentleman, but it was strange that the stone was very famous but never tried. It's probably because of the way Baekwoojin used it just now, but they didn't take into account that people in the past have used the stone for real. The young gentleman is lucky again. He is so absurd. Blackstone thinks at this rate his aura will grow on its own. Yes, the guy's aura had grown a lot. Thanks to that, Blackstone's restrictions were lifted. The status window notified the gentleman that the first seal from Blackstone had been lifted. The teacher turned into a dagger. The guy has a good chance of using Blackstone as a weapon. Blackstone's original form is a dagger, but when the teacher regains his original power, he will not be a dagger, but a sword. Baekwoojin holds a sword for the first time. After regressing, he picked it up to try swinging it. Taking the blade in his hands, the guy instantly felt the full power of the aura. As soon as the Lord felt the power of the aura, it immediately began to flow from him into the sword. Now he understood why Blackstone was called a magic sword. The stronger Baekwoojin becomes, the stronger Blackstone becomes. The guy needs to reach a certain level to be able to use the power of the sword sustainably. With great power comes great responsibility. The first seal lifted doesn't even compensate for half of the teacher's abilities, which means they have a long way to go. This can't be. The Lord couldn't even hold it properly. Woojin doesn't need to worry about that. He's growing now, plus other advantages have opened up. As benefits from the first unsealing of the teacher, the guy accessed his inventory. Inventory is something like a bag in his pocket. Woojin can put his things in the inventory that are in his aura. It's like a rank B item. But for the moment, the Lord can use a space with the size of a small room. The more seals he removes, the more expansive the space will become. That means the guy has to train like crazy until he can use Blackstone properly. He's not some simple sword after all. Opening the status window, Woojin saw that he hadn't completed the task yet, but he already had his aura. The Lord can't get the reward yet. The reward will be available when he puts mana into his energy core. Most likely it's because the guy's mana is not enough to use the aura. If that's the case, Baekwoojin's priority is to complete their unfinished tasks together with Blackstone. With his shabby appearance, Baek Myung-hun came to his father, bowed his head and kneeled down. He realized that the elder already knew everything. The guy was ashamed. When Myung-hun lowered his guard, he was injured by Woojin. If the guy had looked in his direction, he would have definitely defeated his younger brother Baekwoojin. Baek Myung-hun was beaten and passed out because of a lower-ranked Maknae, and now he says he just lowered his guard. These words were just said by the embarrassed Myung-hun. Kneeling with his head down, the boy asked his father for forgiveness, but the elder asked him another question. What did he do when lost to his brother? Myung-hun tried to get Woojin's information, but his father thought he just lowered his guard. Myung-hun really needs the information to be able to defeat his younger brother. His father suggested the guy to take his sword. Myung-hun, who came to a rage, started yelling at his father. The guy saw Woojin getting something from Sung-hyun, but his father wouldn't stand for such a thing. Myung-hun went down his useless and selfish path again. The father told his foolish son to bugger off, but proposed another option. The guy knows the creed of the magic sword family. The father asked his son, can he make Woojin surrender? Strength above all, orders above all. Myung-hun was ordered by his father to step on Baekwoojin's younger brother and force him to surrender. Then who knows what will happen? Step by step Baek Myung-hun might tread his path to the position of elder. The guy agreed with his father. The whole scene between the elder and Myung-hun was watched by Woojin and Blackstone, guessing the conversation between father and son. Blackstone immediately guessed what Myung-hun was talking to his father about. Strangely enough, after a short time, the guy was already standing on the elder's doorstep and having a dialogue with him. Even in Blackstone's previous life, his father constantly provoked his brothers to fight, and now he definitely said something to Bae Myung-hun, logically since he was defeated by his younger brother Woojin. On top of that, his father likely asked Myung-hun why he wasn't doing anything about being defeated so easily by his younger brother. Myung-hun had been coming to see Woojin all year after being told off by his father. What an amazing family. It's full of people who are ready to fight at any second, which means that soon the student and his teacher will fight Myung-hun again. Master can break him into small pieces and then make him bow at his feet. This time, the guy should teach big brother a good lesson. That's why they say parenting is important, but Baekwoojin has a harsh temper. It's only to their advantage, Blackstone thought. In any case, it's better to train instead of focusing on that scum, especially training the aura with Mr. Energy Core is good for him. The young gentleman needs to concentrate again. He is doing much better compared to his first time. Baekwoojin should not focus on the flow of mana, but on creating a path for it to flow in the guy. It is necessary that it would enter not only his heart, but the entire body of the Lord. It is necessary to concentrate the mana in Baekwoojin's energy core. This training method that Blackstone will pass on to the master is called Kaina. The Lord can feel the mana pulsing like a waterfall. He had felt mana in his past life, but it was different then. So this is energy core training, the guy thought. He can feel mana not only inside his body but also around him. This is the man, Kane, that Blackstone mentioned. He looks very familiar. He seems to resemble Blackstone, thought the gentleman. It feels roughly like this. It feels when mana completely fills Baekwoojin's body, but the guy can't figure out what that familiar feeling is. The guy did a good job, but he was distracted by his thoughts, causing his mana susceptibility to be ruined. The master had studied Kane's aura training method, steadily put mana into his energy core. Now he could train his mana and aura using Kane's aura training method. The Lord completed his next quest, Aura Razadam, Black Wind, received 400 points as a reward. This boy is unusual. Blackstone knows that Baekwoojin has a good mind, but to learn the aura training method so quickly, he is surprised. For surprising his teacher, the status window allocated 100 extra points to Mr. as a reward. Pissed off, Blackstone didn't understand what the hell this extra points stuff was, but good for the kid, he asked the teacher to be surprised more often, even if it was intentional. Taking a hand to his face, Blackstone called it a curse, saying that it didn't usually work like that, but more so the memories Baekwoojin saw were definitely there. The Lord browsed through the functions in the status window, stood and realized that he had nothing left to do but rejoice in the rewards of the task. Basic information: name Baekwoojin, age 15, wields a magic sword plus 3 others, training method Aura Kane level 1. Characteristics of physical strength: Lord, 22 out of 100, fencing 13 out of 100, mana 26 out of 100, wisdom 13 out of 100, endurance 22 out of 100, thinking 59 out of 100, point 600. If Blackstone taught Mr. Kane's aura training method, then Baekwoojin's sword aura originated from Razadam. This is the first time the teacher hears Rasaduma's name, but this is his first day in the master's world. The disciple has gained a very valuable aura. Then it's probably thanks to Blackstone. He's always been known for amazing luck in the old ones, but Lord, to be honest, it doesn't matter anymore. The student has developed faster than the teacher expected him to. The status window tells the master to use 600 points to improve performance. Baekwoojin doesn't have any assignments yet. He can try to raise all his characteristics to a low level and then something special will happen. In that case, the first thing the guy wants to improve is fencing, and he improves it to level 8. Blackstone was surprised by the gentleman's choice, but he realizes that the lad has come to an unexpected conclusion. After you captured me, didn't your IQ become useless? Stop it, I'm dead, shouted Blackstone to his master. Well, it's not the worst choice since the guy needs to get to a lower rank to train more effectively, Blackstone said, smiling at Woojin's face. The guy's wisdom went up by 4. The Lord spent all his points, so now he won't be able to raise all his stats. Baekwoojin just needs to improve his mana and aura in order to train wisdom, so he is willing to train further. Blackstone thinks that right now Baek Myung-hoon is targeting the Lord, but Woojin thinks his brother is a sap and will wait for the next time. Blackstone told the gentleman that he needs to train his aura to improve his wisdom. The guy has a nice punching bag he can use. The teacher thinks that the guy by the word pair means his older brother Myung-hoon. The furious master went in search of him. Blackstone knows that the young master is actually 24 years old, but wouldn't it be too hard even though Baek Myung-hoon is a bit lacking in strength and talent? The teacher asked. If the brothers meet up closely with each other, it could be dangerous, but Woojin asked the teacher to just keep an eye on him. Baek Myung-hoon was even more angry when he saw his assailant, Baekwoojin's younger brother Baekwoojin, practicing at the training ground. While passing by in the hallway, Baek Myung-hoon met Nuna. The girl hit the guy with her shoulder, which made him angry, and he tried to run over the girl. Nuna called Myung-hoon a bastard and said that she heard that the guy lost to his brother and that the guys at the university were discussing Myung-hoon and how pathetic he was. The girl wondered stupidly, how could a second-ranked swordsman lose to someone who didn't even have a rank? You've been looking down on me for too long, and now look what a churlishly pathetic bastard you are, Nuna said, laughing in the guy's face. The enraged Baek Myung-hoon, without uttering a single word, only getting angrier, went further into the training ground, practicing his skills. After practicing further, Myung-hoon saw Baekwoojin approaching from behind him, saying that it looked like the gentleman was being treated like a king. Because of Woojin's radiant face, Myung-hoon concluded that their doctor was definitely capable. The master intentionally came here to die. From seeing Myung-hoon's angry emotions, the master said he would give him a chance to try and defeat him. Baekwoojin suggested his older brother to fight again. Mr. thinks he's cool. After some aura appeared, Myung-hoon said. The young master knows how much his older brother hates him, so he gives him the opportunity to beat up Woojin. What's wrong with that bastard, Wu Jin? Myung-hun thought, as if there was a completely different person standing in front of him. It had only been a few days since the master had manifested his aura. Myung-hun doesn't even need to use a sword, he can just fight his brother on his bare fists. It will be easier that way, Baek Wu Jin said. Throwing his sword out of his hands, Baek Myung-hun rushed forward at his younger brother with the words, now he would break his head. Myung-hun promised himself this time not to let the young master overpower him like last time, no matter what. Baek Wu Jin clearly sees his brother's strategy. Myung-hun is trying to use the same method that the Lord used against him last time. Baek Myung-hun aiming at his younger brother's head, just as Baek Wu Jin was aiming at his head back then. From the young lord's anger, Rasaduma's aura, Black Wind, was activated. After punching his older brother in the face with his fist, the status window notified the Lord that his opponent's movement had temporarily slowed down. While using the aura, dark phantom bodies appear beside Wu Jin. These were his aides helping him against his brother. Another loser, Baek Myung-hun, was lying on the ground, looking at his hand in panic. He didn't understand what the hell had just happened. The joyful young lord stood and watched his older brother lying on the floor in a semi-disabled state, realizing that he now knew how to use his aura. A day later, Baek Wu Jin and Blackstone were walking around the city, thinking about how the buildings are disgustingly tall, as if a forest is growing. The fight with Baek Myung-hun showed the guy to be good at using his aura, but it's strange why he leaves his house. Now that the Lord is able to make full use of his aura, the guy is now an aura user and must register with the association. While politely saying hello at the front desk, Baek Wu Jin said that he wanted to register as a user swordsman, rank 1. The girl said that the guy should first write his personal details and then she would check his aura level. The surprised girl, seeing the gentleman's name on the sheet, with her eyes wide open, asked the guy what his name was. The lady asked Baek Wu Jin, is he by any chance from Baek's divine sword family? But the guy wasn't confused and said that, no, he doesn't like the Baek family. Miss apologized for mistaking the guy, and said that someone from the Baek divine sword family came last month, the lady said with a laugh. The girl who came was furious, covered in flames, said that guy was a sick bastard. He said he wasn't that weak for the aura test, but still didn't pass it. If Wu Jin wants to ask a girl if she knows this person, she can just say that she saw this jerk for the first time. What a freak he is, the gentleman added. The guy was angry at the fact the lady thought he was so kind and also such a handsome person, asking how Baek Wu Jin couldn't be related to him. Blackstone thought the Lord would care about his origins, but Wu Jin only has plans to destroy that shitty family tree. It all worked out. Miss had attached the guy's certificate to his app on his phone. Now Baek Wu Jin only had to register his aura. The satisfied young gentleman smiled sweetly at the lady, thanking her. Together with Blackstone they left. Baek Wu Jin is so happy that he acts like a 15-year-old boy, all because in his past life, he got his first certificate at the age of 24. More things will change in the future. It's too early to be surprised, Blackstone told his master, but the boy agreed with his teacher's opinion, saying that this is just the beginning. The anxious front desk girl excitedly caught up with the gentleman and asked if he could spare some time. A dungeon appeared nearby, but lacking a swordsman, the lady thought that Mr. Baek Wu Jin would be interested in her proposal. Actually, there's someone waiting at the association, but the girl specifically asked the guy first. This dungeon with the vine moles, it would be good practice for the master. Mr. and Blackstone think that the girl is acting so friendly to them because Baek Wu Jin has badmouthed his family. Well, basically, if a guy has talent now, it would be nice to test it under real conditions. The gentleman had been given a certificate of ability, and since it was a vine mole, there would be no problem. It was a chance to test his powers, thought the guy, and agreed to the girl's suggestion. Coming into the woods for training, when meeting people, the guy introduced himself and waited to see what time to start. The guy in the red protective uniform is called Hong In-soo. He also introduced himself to the master and said that he was very lucky to go to the dungeon on his first day. Lun Hu was disturbed by the conversation between Hong In-soo and young master Baek Wu Jin, thinking that the guy was being talked down to. After yelling at his assistant Young Hoon, Hong In-soo told him not to be silly and to think about how Baek could come to such a dirty and small dungeon. Hong In-soo ordered his assistant to go get ready and began to question the gentleman if he was definitely not from the Baek family. Lord doesn't like the Baek family, but Hong In-soo asked the guy not to say that, saying that Wu Jin doesn't know yet how cruel the swordsmen in the Baek family are. If the swordsmen from the Baek family come, the guy is in big trouble. It turns out the reputation sucks so bad that Wu Jin didn't realize it was that bad. There was a girl standing mysteriously nearby, and the gentleman peeked at her while talking to Hong In-soo, remembering where he knew her from. Blackstone, looking at the gentleman's embittered face, tried to calm the lad down so he wouldn't get worked up and do something stupid. Woo Jin remembered, this is Jok Younghwa from the Thundercloud Formation, the youngest daughter of the tough Red Lotus Jok family. Blackstone asked the guy, it turns out that her family is feuding with the Beck family. The guy replied. Even in Woo Jin's past life, Younghwa was among the talented people who received a large dose of hate. She practiced alone without the support of her family. Hong In-soo called out to Mrs. Younghwa, saying that everything is ready, we can go. The girl walked over to the guys and introduced herself to the young master. The girl introduced herself as Park Younghwa, hiding her family's affiliation while practicing. A smart move, Blackstone said as he watched everything happening. Baek Woo Jin, Blackstone now realizes, a normal training session without using his surname, not like his master's. Let's go before it starts and we're too late, Hong In-soo said, calling everyone inside. Everyone who entered inside should know that this is a vine mole dungeon. Despite its appearance, it is not very dangerous, said Hong In-soo. However, it was easy to get hurt here if the guys weren't careful, so Hong In-soo advised everyone to walk carefully and watch their step. As it turns out that vine moles, they are huge and go through the dungeon. This whole tunnel was built by a vine mole. Blackstone can't believe what kind of something big animal it is. Oh fuck, what the fuck, what a curse. Hong In-soo stepped on something bad. These vibrations are coming from these creatures, they need to be very careful. Hong In-soo told everyone that no one knows where the animal will come out from. Everyone should watch their feet, check and stay away from places with cracks. Without going a couple of meters inside through the tunnel, in front of the guys from under the ground appeared large spikes. All were at the ready. The vine moles found out that the guys entered the wrong territory. Now they will chase them. It won't be easy to deal with, said Hong In-soo. Blackstone assessed the moles without nervousness and said that even if they were easy to kill, their claws were a great danger. Everyone needed to be careful. Looks like the vine around the mole's neck is very stiff. It will be easier to aim at other parts of the body, said Hong In-soo. Everyone needs to get ready. The moles will start jumping at any moment. The young lord drew his sword and prepared to attack, but Blackstone felt that this was not the best environment to swing his sword. Jin already has experience fighting them from a past life. The whole team lined up in a row. All were in anticipation of the moles coming at them and were ready to fight without backing down. Team's vision is limited due to the smoke. Everyone needs to be careful. The bastard moles are kicking up dust to make them less visible. Blackstone told his little master to be careful. He had no practical experience yet. There are too many of them even for Baek Woo Jin. Even if he thinks he's very strong, the guy should try to dodge and find the best moment to attack. The Lord knows best the weakness of vine moles. Razadam's aura, Black Wind, activated. It's a small hole, its soft neck between their vines. That's where moles have a weak spot, Baek Woo Jin said. Because they have rough skin, it's best to aim straight for the neck, slitting the throat of one of the vine moles, the guy said. Don't let anyone get distracted, shouted Jung Younghwa, jumping up and hitting the mole that had gotten close behind Yun-hoo, Hong In-soo's assistant, with all her might. Is that right? You should try to aim for the neck. Only by using strength can you kill the mole, said Younghwa. Ha, you're so great, Red Tray Younghwa, said the Lord. It comes out they killed most of the krats. The moles attacked the humans as soon as they entered the dungeon. How rude of them. But logically these animals have no common sense. Everyone tries to avoid the vine mole dungeon, so there isn't much information about it. The youngest daughter of the tough Red Lotus family, Jok Younghwa, asked the master, how did he know about this, about the neck being the weak point of the vine moles? Someone told me about it in the past. I've heard that knowing about monsters before entering a dungeon comes in handy, the guy replied with a smile. And who exactly gave him that information? Blackstone asked Baek Woo Jin, but there was no point in trying to find out anything from him. Technically the guy had already talked about himself from the past. But who would have thought that vine moles would be so aggressive? Shouldn't they be monsters that a rank 1 swordsman should be able to handle? The guys pondered. As the boys moved in the direction of the dungeon exit, they came across 2 exits. Well, it seems their luck has smiled on them, thought Hong In-soo. The association only told them to kill the vine moles, so they decide to split up. Isn't this the boss's seal? Seeing the mole with the symbol on its head, the guys were horrified. From its size, it's a curse, most likely because of the boss. The others seemed heavier, said Yong-hoo. This boss, the dungeon keeper, that's why he has a mark on his forehead. But dungeons with bosses are well rewarded, but they are much harder to clear, Woo Jin thought. Blackstone believes that it is correctly said that big rewards are given for difficult tasks. Does that mean that the dungeon is as difficult as a second-rank dungeon? While all the guys were thinking about what to do with the boss, Jung Younghwa said that no one should worry about him and go to another exit, and the girl herself will deal with him. Red Lotus yelled that she would take care of him, and let the other guys kill the other moles, and ran down the tunnel to the boss. Park Yun-hwa has the right skills, the guys are sure she will be fine, but letting her go alone, Woo Jin volunteered to help, saying he will follow her and help the girl. What is he talking about? The gentleman came to the dungeon for the first time, Hong In-soo said, but the guy has studied a lot about bosses and dungeons, so there is no reason to worry. Hearing the guy's words, Young-hoo suggested to leave this job to him. Everyone else can go the other way and finish everything quickly. Hong In-soo took a deep breath and gave advice to the young guy. If it's Park Yun-hwa, even if she's skillful, she still needs support, especially when fighting against the boss. Okay, but Baek Woo-jin will have to run away as soon as he realizes the danger. Hong In-soo gave advice from his personal experience. Young Master Baek Woo-jin immediately rushed into the tunnel to catch up with Park Yun-hwa, but Blackstone didn't like the idea so much. He asked the student why he decided to help the girl. It could be dangerous. Red Lotus crossed the line. How dare she kill the boss that Woo-jin had staked out? But the teacher still thought that it wasn't the boss, the one with the mark on his forehead, but just a mole who was slightly stronger than the others. Didn't the master tell the teacher, if you defeat the boss you can get a reward? The guy has a chance to get a good subject. Despite this, Blackstone still wants Baek Woo-jin to do nothing. Baek Woo-jin received a notification that he received a surprise assignment. The guy needs to defeat the dungeon boss before someone else does. The reward is 200 points and a surprise. The overjoyed gentleman asked the teacher if this wasn't the perfect time for the assignment, but Blackstone said it was just silly, a kind of impeccable timeliness. The master accepted the assignment and decided to risk his life for the attempt. But why would a guy risk his life if he had already died once? Blackstone asked his student. Blackstone had heard that this vine mole, never seen it before, but it looks peculiar, and is sure to be stronger than its kin. This monster probably didn't appear in this dungeon that long ago. That's why those people didn't manage to overpower it. The guy is sure that moles are not as strong as they seem. Moles move in large strides, so they tire quickly. It's easy to catch them if you procrastinate. Humans haven't really explored their weaknesses. 10 years later, there are slight differences. In the time period Baek Woo-jin lived in, that's when the strategy was created. The Lord believes that he is exactly different from himself in the past. This time it will be different. He will become strong and overthrow the family of Divine Sword Baek. Blackstone and the Lord stopped when they saw that the Red Lotus Jok Yun-hwa was fighting two vine moles at once. Luckily for the student, the boss had not been defeated yet, and seeing that the girl could manage quite well on her own, the boy and the teacher rushed down the tunnel further, waiting for the boss. In confusion, Jung Yun-hwa stopped the guy and asked him where he was going to go. The gentleman must be completely out of his mind with his little experience. It's dangerous here. Why did Woo-jin come here? If the guy wants to offer help, then Yun-hwa refuses. The girl can handle it herself. She doesn't need any helpers. What is this lady talking about? Baek Woo-jin wondered. He didn't come here to help. The guy came to fulfill his mission, to kill the dungeon boss. Mr. is just an incredible fool. Not Woo-jin said that today became a first-rank swordsman, and that this is his first day in the dungeon. The girl asked the guy. But the dungeon is not a toy. Coming in plain clothes and without preparation, and deceived by his expectations, Baek Woo-jin is asking for death. Blackstone was already getting worried about the Lord's reaction to Jung Yun-hwa's words, asking his disciple not to take her words too personally, suggesting a bet. Blackstone just said the word bet. Baek Woo-jin offered the girl a bet, with the stipulation that he would be the first to fight the boss. If the gentleman defeats the boss in 3 minutes, he wins, but if he can't, then it will be the turn of the Red Lotus, and as an additional reward, the guy will fulfill any request. 3 minutes, Baek Woo-jin said. In 3 minutes? The girl was furiously surprised, saying that the guy hit his head. Even a third-rank ability user wouldn't be able to handle it in 3 minutes. Baek Woo-jin rushed Yun-hwa to make a decision on his proposal, but the girl agreed, saying if the master would put the boss down in 3 minutes, she would also fulfill any of his requests. The cunning lady, with a wink of her eye, told the gentleman to go try his luck with the boss. It would be better for her to rest a bit on the sidelines before her fight. The guy is confident in his abilities, but 3 minutes is too short, the teacher said, but the gentleman is quite confident. 3 minutes was nothing 10 years ago for him. Jung Yun-hwa standing aside. No matter how hard she tries, he can't understand. The guy came all the way here, and now he's holding this absurd bet. What would it be for? The girl wondered. But Young Hwoo realized that Mr. Woo-jin was doing all this to get her attention. She had noticed from the beginning that Woo-jin was looking at her strangely. Blackstone noticed the oddity. The Red Lotus suddenly began to stare at the Lord without averting her gaze. Of course, come to think of it, the beauty thought she had the boss all to herself, and now someone has interfered, but it doesn't matter now. The boss is mine, angrily replied the master to his teacher. The mole jumped at the lord, hoping to hit him, but the guy was able to dodge the blow with ease. The lady, surprised to the point of horror, was shocked to see the talent of the gentleman, although she wanted to win the bet, but still she was worried that the guy would not get hurt. The lord was not that stupid in battle. He had developed his tactics and dodged the blows, causing the mole to exhaust himself. Now the mole makes large movements during the fight. This helps Wu Jin Lego dodge and not get hurt. Guy's Rasa Duma aura was activated, Black Wind. Now the mole had only seconds left, not to be defeated. Thanks to the Black Wind, the target's movement slowed down, and boy did it play to the guy's advantage. Evading the swing of the Lozoff mole, the lord stuck his sharp sword into the mole, killing it instantly. After killing the mole boss, young master Baek Woo Jin stood there enthusiastically and proudly watched the blood dripping from his sword. Questioning with her eyes and mouth wide open, Jung Yunhwa was shocked to see that the guy was able to kill the mole so quickly. It took the guy about 30 seconds to kill the boss, standing beside the corpse of the animal and shaking the blood off his sword. Baek Woo Jin. The status window notified the master that the surprise task had been completed. Woo Jin was given 200 points and a surprise. The furious lady interrogated the guy. He's definitely a rank 1 swordsman who started today, but she has no idea how Baek Woo Jin managed to kill the boss. No, this sword had an aura, and this sword wielding, shouted Yunhwa to the young guy, but Woo Jin calmly put his hands up and asked the girl to ask one question at a time. Baek Woo Jin realized that the girl was impatient to know how he managed to kill the boss, but the gentleman promised to never tell her about it, smiling at her face. Yunhwa stood and yelled at the gentleman in anger, but the guy calmly replied that he wasn't the kind of idiot who would tell everyone his secrets. At the end of the events, Baek Woo Jin has defeated this boss, and now Mrs. Yunhwa is obliged to fulfill one request of the Lord. Exhaling deeply, the calmed-down girl acknowledged the fact that she had underestimated Baek Woo Jin by asking what request she needed to fulfill. "Alright, I'll leave the wish for later." Red Lotus Formation Thundercloud. With a smirk on his face, Baek Woo Jin-san said. Jung Yunhwa wondered how the guy knew about the Red Lotus Thundercloud formation. Could it be that the master had just guessed? But Baek Woo Jin guessed just logically, because there weren't many warriors lately. The girl felt like she was losing to this brat. Woo Jin wants his wish to be fulfilled by the most precious youngest daughter of the Thundercloud formation, but he doesn't know how to use such an opportunity yet. Jung Yunhwa still claims that the guy is from the Baek family. He even has the same last name, but Woo Jin hits back, assuring that he doesn't like the Divine Sword family Baek. The guy suggested to Yunhwa to watch him curse the Baek family. Blackstone thought that Woo Jin wanted to do it intentionally, proving to the Red Lotus. By her clenching her teeth, Yunhwa started to get angry. Blackstone and Red Lotus turned their attention to the boss killed by Baek Woo Jin. Something shone on his face. Yes, there is a similar reward for the death of a boss, Blackstone told his apprentice. Blackstone was happier than the master because Baek Woo Jin wanted to check the ring with an appraiser first, but the teacher said he could check it himself. Vinestone Mole Ring. This ring increases stamina, mindset, and ground resistance, plus 5 points to each skill. The Vinestone Mole Ring increases Woo Jin's base stats. Letting go of his head congratulated Yunhwa, the master, thinking that she had only lost the bet because of her recklessness. The guy thanked Jung Yunhwa for the compliment and gave her the red stone, smiling as he realized that he was the one who had won. With a stern face, "In the end Woo Jin really did kill the boss," said the girl, catching the stone in her hand and taking it for herself. Running up later, the rest of the guys, who were horrified at seeing the slain mole boss, began to thank Yunhwa for the job done. "Yes, good job. Thanks to the Red Lotus, they managed the dungeon," said Yonghoo. Jung Yonghoo did a great job. They didn't doubt her. Smiling, the girl simply pointed her finger at the Lord, saying that it was all Baek Woo Jin's doing. The rookie was able to single-handedly take down the boss. But how? A young gentleman with no experience single-handedly managed to handle the boss. The surprised guys ran up to Baek Woo Jin and barraged him with questions on how he did it. With a sly smile on her face, the girl left, promising not to let the young gentleman off the hook next time. Some time later, after the victorious stage in the dungeon, Mr. Blackstone and the rest of the team, the teacher and his student, were strolling through the city. Pretty easy for a first assignment, and the people were good, and Baek Woo Jin got the reward for the boss, finally killing 2 birds at once, the guy thought. The teacher still thinks that this is not the end, and the Red Lotus can easily find the guy. But Dinner does not care. The guy is confident in his words, and knows that he has never lied. In a panic, Blackstone began to question his student. How come he wasn't lying when he said he wasn't from the Baek family? What the teacher is talking about? Baek Woo Jin said he hates his Baek family, but the guy never said he wasn't part of it. Blackstone, rolling his eyes, agreed with the young gentleman, saying he was tinny. How annoying. Upon reaching the door, two servants, Jung Jun Hyuk and Myung Ju Young, were waiting for the gentleman, telling the guy that they were here to accompany Baek Woo Jin. Blackstone rejoiced at seeing the young gentleman's two servants, saying that the lad had succeeded in life. But Baek Woo Jin didn't like it so much. He waved his hand and said that it was too late for today, so the servants should go home and the performance would continue tomorrow. But the boy was very surprised to hear that from today his room would be on the 8th floor, Baek Monastery. The master and the rest of the guys cleared the dungeon on the day they registered their aura, and the owner of the house ordered young Baek Woo Jin to move there, Moon Ju Young said. The master couldn't believe he had to move into the monastery back, but still agreed to come into his room for a bit. Baek Woo Jin is finally allowed to live in the family's ancestral home. Walking into the room, the guy turned on the light. "Are you so happy you're going to cry?" Blackstone asked his apprentice, teasingly. This is just the beginning, so Baek Woo Jin wants to regain his composure. Walking into the room with Blackstone, began to look at their new quarters. Blackstone began to reassure his student, telling him to stop dwelling on the past. Baek Woo Jin should only look forward. The guy has dealt with Baek Myung Hun, so there shouldn't be any more problems. Baek Ho Jun and the 6 people above him. Seriously, said the guy, who has 8 kids, and even at that age, Woo Jin teased the elder. The teacher wondered how the master knew those 2 servants, but Woo Jin said he knew one, Moon Ju Young. He was ordered to watch the young master. In his previous life, the guy wouldn't have known about it, but now he had mana susceptibility, so now Baek Woo Jin could sense it. The young lord wondered what the elder was for, had a member of the Dark Sword Squad assigned to the lad for surveillance. It's a group of swordsmen who receive direct orders from Baek Woo Jin's father, something along the lines of an elite guard. The lad thinks he has caught his father's eye. Blackstone agrees with him too. He is thinking of going now to a convent. Good job, since today is their first day working as a servant, they both should rest. After thanking the master, Jung Jun Hyuk and Moon Ju Young left to rest. The master called out to the departing man, Moon Jaeyoung, for a second, saying that everything was fine, but asked the servant to keep his distance as he watched the guy. Baek Woo Jin, also needing his personal space. Moon Jun froze, not knowing what to say, and the young master smiled and left, waving his hand to the servant. Blackstone thought that Mr. Baek Woo Jin had a modicum of intelligence. The teacher discovered this information. The guy with a smile on the street replied to the teacher that it's not like anyone cares, because the teacher won't be left out either when Baek Woo Jin's position increases. Blackstone thought that the elder didn't shed tears and blood. If the guy complained like that, wouldn't it hit him in the future? Not at all. With a smile on his face and a calmness inside, the gentleman realizes that he knows perfectly well what kind of man his father is. If Moon Ju Young informs his father that the guy caught him snooping, the master thinks, while the servant has already come to the elder and said that Baek Woo Jin called Baek Woo Jin a rat, his servant Ju Young. Blackstone will never understand this family, and the guy offered to open now a reward for an unexpected assignment, for killing the boss. Yeah, since the gentleman has such good luck, Blackstone, I wonder what the guy will get this time. The young gentleman was again given a choice of mythical cards. He should choose wisely, his teacher advised him. Baek Woo Jin seriously doesn't know anything. He just has to pick a random card without expecting anything. No one can know which card is best to open. The guy thinks he won't get anything this time, but Blackstone encourages his master by saying that no one knows if this time the apprentice will win the jackpot. Baek Woo Jin's intuition tells him that with such a random choice, he should take the card that looks better. The guy picked one card and got a mask. Blackstone couldn't believe that this time they won a regular mask and nothing more. The mask looks like a cheap thing made in a workshop. Teacher was stunned that the guy said such words while looking at this mask. How could something like this get to this stupid guy? Is this system even crazy, or is Mr. Bloody Scum? The teacher wondered, not understanding how this happened. Baek Woo Jin must see for himself how incredible this item is, an all-powerful demonic transformation mask, with a legendary rank of use. A mask used by a special assassin called the Almighty Demonic Empire of Cain. The master can change his face, body, and even the color of his mana. This is a legendary item. The condition of using this mask, you need to be able to use your mana. The special ability, it is an almighty transformation thanks to this mask. Judging from the description, the guy can even change his body, not realizing until the end about what was happening in the master's life. He was shocked. Baek Woo Jin can't change his height, but within reason, yes, he can change his body, and he can even change the color of his aura. What a great subject, the teacher said to the boy. The gentleman would be able to fool anyone if he wanted to. Blackstone offered right away to the lad, to test the mask, and the lad of course agreed. The status window notified the guy that when using the mask, he must present an image of his desired transformation. The last person the guy saw today was Moon Ju-young, and the Lord chose the desired blue color of his mana. It's crazy. After completing the transformation, young Master Baek-woo-jin realized that he had transformed into Moon Ju-young. Blackstone, seeing the change in his student, reminded the boy to use his aura to see if the color had changed. Checking his aura, the gentleman saw that the color had changed. The guy thought that this was definitely an incredible item and not some simple mask. The master thanked Blackstone, saying that if he had not listened to his teacher, choosing carefully, the lad would not have drawn out that mask. The system window mentioned the Kane Empire. It is after all the name of the gentleman of the training method. Baek-woo-jin thought about what it could mean. Blackstone can't say anything about there being no connection between the two, as the source of everything the young gentleman is studying at the moment. Soon Baek-woo-jin will find out everything about him himself. Anyway, this isn't where the gentleman should go. For now he needs to focus on his growth. Blackstone believes that the apprentice will not make much use of his new mask. There is no point in hiding his identity, being the son of a well-known family. Looking at the young gentleman, it doesn't look like he's going to commit any crimes, but the guy is already up to something, and decides to use the mask tomorrow. Coming to the elder, the disciple and Blackstone realized that the father already knew that the master was in the dungeon yesterday, even though Moon Ju-young hadn't followed them. But the Lord and the teacher are sure in that the father has his eyes and ears everywhere, but it is also possible that the association told the elder about this trek, saying that his father had heard about the lad's bet. The gentleman thought how come his father found out about it without lifting a finger. The elder was surprised when he found out that the young master knew he was making a bet with the youngest daughter of the tough Jew family, and still agreed to the crazy bet. It was for this reason that the guy made a bet to prove to the youngest daughter of the Jock family what the youngest son of the divine sword Beck was all about. The father asked his son to explain why he hid the fact that he was a member of the Beck family, but the boy said that he wasn't even trying to hide it, saying that the girl herself made such a conclusion about the gentleman. The father and Baek-woo-jin, it was very interesting to see the expression on the face of the youngest daughter from the tough Red Lotus Jock family when she finds out that the boy is the son of the Beck family. Kneeling down, the Lord didn't realize that his father allowed him to use everything available to the heir of the Beck divine sword family. It means the guy is following the path of the Beck family. When he needs to, he can safely use his family's name, said the elder to his son. From this day forward, the young master is allowed to enter not only Beck Monastery, but also the large training hall and libraries. Overwhelmed with happiness, the young gentleman thanked his father, thinking that he had finally reached the same starting point as the rest of his family. The young lad promised to follow his father's example, and instantly got his next new assignment, a status window offering the Lord a choice of two options. The guy will follow the path followed by the others, or create his own personal path, provided to achieve experience 25 in fencing, using only horizontal cuts and sword exposure. The benefit of accepting a guy assignment, Lord's experience in swordsmanship and physical strength, will increase dramatically in the process of completing the assignment, the reward of 700 points, and the change of title to the path of the sword. The boy wondered why the task appeared now, but the teacher said that the status window wanted the master to choose the solution himself. Baek-woo-jin himself had just said that he was now at the same starting point as the rest of his Beck family. However, the master had started elsewhere. Things have gone differently since Mr. and Blackstone's meeting. That's why the guy has to make a choice, or Woo-jin will go down the same path as the others with the same conditions, or the young lord will become a swordsman who walks his created path on his own. Young Baek-woo-jin, at a loss for words, thought about it and asked the teacher, what if he took the assignment and used a different skill? Of course the guy is going to fail his assignment. What kind of stupid thoughts are in that moron's head? Blackstone thought. What is this fool doing without asking his father? Is he what he wants to give up? Elder and Woo-jin are siblings, already on a high level. The exasperated guy wondered if the point for someone with no talent in swordsmanship was to try to catch up with all the members of the Beck family. No, of course there's no point, replied the father. Baek-woo-jin, the guy chose the task, to go on his own path and prove to everyone otherwise. From now on, the Lord will fail this task if he uses other skills besides horizontal slashing and sword exposure. Jin's swordsmanship experience and physical strength will increase in the process of completing the task. Woo-jin asked his father for more time to train alone as he had gotten a lot of experience during the solo training. If Baek-woo-jin trains under a great coach, he will grow much faster, yet the guy turns down this opportunity just to train alone? Yes, shouted the guy proudly, the gentleman doesn't need the help of any excellent trainer to develop his strength and conduct training, he only wants to train alone. The elder thought about his youngest son's words, but allowed Wu Jin to train alone, saying that the boy only had 2 months. After 2 months, the elder will conduct a test. If the youngest son of the Beck family, Wu Jin, doesn't pass the test, the guy will be punished severely. The angry, foolish boy agreed to his father's condition, saying he would do anything to prove his point. While practicing at the training ground, Jok Hyunwoo, the youngest daughter from a tough Red Lotus family, was venting all her anger and aggression by beating up a punching bag. After not long but very strong blows, the pair broke. Seeing with his own eyes, Hyunwoo's brother said that it was a brand new and expensive pair. Father will have a talk with her. Jung Hyunwoo was not in the mood, telling her older brother to get lost, but the guy wondered why his sister was so cold lately, advising his sister not to kick him out. When Hyunwoo heard that her brother had come to her with information about the person she was looking for, she immediately changed her face and waited for her brother's answer. The girl immediately turned to her brother, believing that Jung Hyunwoo was at an age where she was interested in love. Taking a piece of paper from her older brother, the girl realized that this was what she needed. All the contents on this piece of paper was information about Baek Woo Jin. The lady, who had come to a furious rage after reading it, realized that the jerk with a smile on his face was Baek Woo Jin, who was a member of the Beck family. How dare he fool the girl? Park Hyunwoo shouted by his brother to the girl that she shouldn't tear up the sheet of information about the gentleman, saying that of course, family is everything. This is his debut, so there isn't much information about Baek Woo Jin. Youngwoo's younger sister, Hyunwoo, asked her older brother if Woo Jin's bastard registered for the dungeon raid, to register her for the same raid too. Red Lotus has to take revenge on Baek Woo Jin for the shame she felt. She thought, why did he interfere? But it was because he's an asshole from Beck's dirty family. This time, Park Hyunwoo will kill the boss, herself. Young scumbag, how dare he get on the nerves? Red Lotus, big brother, this is the first time seeing his sister interested in someone else, and Baek Woo Jin from the Beck Divine Sword family. This is going to be very interesting, he thought with a smile. Baek Myung-hoon and the rest of the guys were practicing on the training ground with the coach, while their actions were noticed by Mr. Baek Woo Jin and his teacher. He's here again, right where we started from, but there's something different about him, said the young master to his teacher, to look at Baek Myung-hoon into action. It would have counted if Myung-hoon said hello back but just ignored it, Blackstone said, but Woo Jin pointed out that in a past life, he wouldn't have even said hello to him. The master thinks he wouldn't want to greet a man who, at every encounter, punches a guy in the back of the head. Woo Jin should stop being distracted and get into position for practice. First, Baek Woo Jin should pull out his sword and hide it back into its scabbard. For today, such will be the practice for the guy. Blackstone wants the master to draw his sword again and put it back away. The lad asked his teacher in bewilderment. Young Baek Woo Jin set to the task, and Blackstone wants to see how the guy handles the skill before deciding what he should do next. Accidentally during the process, as the young master was pulling out his sword and scabbard, pulling out sharply, the sword flew off to the side. Where Myung-hoon happened to be, he saw the sword approaching and turned away from the blow. Woo Jin is fucking crazy, he can't wait to die. Which was to be expected from the weakest in 7 Beck. This move showed the teacher that it was pointless for people to have weapons. Blackstone told his master, fuck, an asshole like Baek Woo Jin swinging a sword, because this retard doesn't even reach the standards of others. You're doing too much, you piece of shit, Myung-hoon said sarcastically, kicking his brother's sword in his direction. Woo Jin should live like he lived before instead of fooling everyone around him. It was most likely a lie. Such a young Baek Woo Jin, he couldn't overpower Myung-hoon with such a skill. The gentleman is completely talentless, reasoned the guys behind Myung-hoon's back. Baek Woo Jin and Blackstone stood there not knowing what Myung-hoon and his cronies were talking about. Blackstone told the student that he assumed the master needed to grow up as fast as possible to scare those guys, but Woo Jin didn't understand what the teacher wanted from him. The young gentleman needs to aim his sword at this line. It won't be easy, however, if the guy manages to do it, he will at least learn the art of the naked sword. Baek Woo Jin had exterminated vine moles before, and this should be even easier to deal with. The young gentleman easily succeeded, cutting the training stand into 2 pieces. Blackstone was happy for his student for grasping things so quickly on the fly, but part of the pole flew back at Myung-hoon's older brother. What if something happened to his older brother? But Baek Woo Jin easily said he didn't do it on purpose, not knowing why it's happening. But when Blackstone said that, the guy had a little bit of a clue what was going on, but he didn't care how badly his older brother was hurt or what happened to him. But in any case, if the young master practiced a little more in the dungeon, he would start to do fine. But the boy asked his teacher, why make things so complicated? With shouts, the guys ran up to Baek Myung-hoon, trying to figure out what was wrong with him and the gentleman just thought that real-life experience points, already somewhere close to Wu Jin. If they have something to say to the guy, then let them tell him everything to his face. How dare they talk behind his back? They are all corpses, Baek Wu Jin said to his teacher. One of Myung-hoon's friends stood up for his friend and started yelling at the gentleman, asking how he dared to hurt his older brother, slashing the pillar with just one swing of his sword. How could a person who started practicing sword exposure do such a thing only today? The rumor that the Lord was hiding his talents was true, thought Moon Ju-yoon. The guy heard that they would spar in the evening. Could he join? Asked the gentleman, Myung-hoon's comrade. Baek Wu Jin has only swung his sword once and already wants to join a sparring match, and this is coming from a man who is accumulating his mana in Dantien? Baek Myung-hoon's comrade told Wu Jin that he would be holding a sparring session where he would compete against a large number of people. The gentleman said he was ready for such a thing. They're setting up a kidney for Baek Wu Jin. Blackstone probably remembers all the people who talk shit about the gentleman. There's some reason to memorize them, Blackstone clarified to his apprentice. Yonder they all certainly were. Baek Myung-hoon's friends told Mr. and Blackstone that if they talk behind the backs of others, bad karma would catch up with them. The student and his teacher don't care at all that the kids will ignore them, they just don't pay attention to it. Young Mr. Baek Wu Jin doesn't care who speaks for him. He wants revenge, he wants to beat those bastards. Young Master Baek Wu Jin will also be participating in today's sparring. Absolutely no one has any objection. After the coach asked all the guys if anyone wanted to fight against the young Baek Wu Jin, there were many willing participants. Almost everyone raised their hand up. Blackstone was surprised at the number of guys who were waiting for the gentleman. That's what popularity means. That's what popularity means, the coach said, letting Baek Wu Jin choose who to spar with first. The master chose a guy named Kim Yuen-sik. Kim was crazy about Wu Jin's choice, agreeing to train with him. Blackstone wondered why the young master had chosen this particular student, Kim Woon-sik, but Wu Jin simply said that the teacher would look into his old memories. In the master's past flashbacks, Yuen-sik bullied Wu Jin in every way possible, offering the guy to play the role of Ki Yuen-sik's stinking horse, insulting him in all sorts of ways. Kim Yuen was paying special attention to Wu Jin as his own snoop because no one else wanted to use the master anyway, calling the guy a loser. Blackstone, after reading his apprentice's past memories, became furious and simply asked the master to destroy the crazy bastard Ki Woon-sik. The fighters stepped into the middle. Kim Yuen-sik introduced himself as a second-ranked swordsman, saying that he was very happy to train with the young master. Kim Yuen-sik wondered why Baek Wu Jin was only practicing the art of sword nudging, but the master said that it didn't matter to someone like Kim Yuen-sik. Sword nudges are not the best skill in fencing, and are dangerous because if the Lord fails to land the first blow, his opponent will. Kim Yuen-sik rushed forward saying that such a weak skill of Baek Wu Jin would not work on him, but the gentleman stood still, noticing only that Yuen-sik had a purple line. Choosing the moment his opponent approached, young Master Baek Wu Jin ducked down and struck back at his opponent with his sword. With just one strike, the guy broke the sword, Kim Yuen-sik, into two pieces. The opponent didn't even expect such a thing. Laying down his sword, the Lord clarified to Yuen-sik that he was saying that if one didn't strike first, the opponent would strike. The offended Yuen-sik lay on his knees, dying of embarrassment, while the gentleman said that he was sorry that he couldn't hit Kim Yuen-sik on the vital points, because it was only sparring. The crying guy thought Baek Wu Jin was practicing sword exposure for the first time today, not understanding one thing: how could he, a second-rank swordsman, lose? Wow, sobbing over losing, said the coach, realizing Yuen-sik that he lost to the young master, Wu Jin, whom he always looked down on. Enough chatter, who's next? Ignited by his aura, catching a chime, the Lord asked the rest of the guys. Confused by the panic, one of the young boys asked the gentleman, does he want to continue sparring further, with someone else? Of course, Baek Wu Jin replied. The guys were saying that today would be a training session where the gentleman would face a few opponents. Seo Yun-ho will be next. The guy raised his hand when the coach asked who wanted to spar with the young master. In Wu Jin's previous life, Seo Yun beat up the master, and in this life, he's sucking up to Baek Myung-hoon, Blackstone said angrily. In Master's past life, Seo Yun beat him when Master wasn't even a rank 1 swordsman. He repeated everything after Baek Myung-hoon, leaving bruises on Wu Jin's body where people wouldn't see. Blackstone shouted to Baek Wu Jin not to let any of these bastards go until he left them a single mess. Everyone must answer for the pains of bringing pain to a disciple in a past life. It was easier for the Lord to just deal with a bunch of morons than Blackstone was telling him, or Wu Jin's opponents were just weaklings. The young master only had one opponent left for today. What a shame. but Woo Jin had decided from the beginning that he would leave this guy for last. Myung Hoon Hyun, red-haired bastard, cocky but nothing of himself, give him a sword, shouted the Lord, waiting for Myung Hoon to decide. The gentleman was surprised. He thought Myung Hoon would run away. But what's the point of Myung Hoon running away if Woo Jin is just an ordinary asshole who only knows how to provoke people? Going into the sparring session, Baek Woo Jin said one thing: the guys will dispense with the rules of propriety. The master's brother, Baek Myung Hoon, has also grown a lot. He definitely has talent. This news impresses Woo Jin. Myung Hoon received the second rank at such an early age. But Baek Woo Jin knows that he will still win. Baek Myung Hoon's strategies are easy to anticipate. He uses footwork. Myung Hoon is closer than he looks. Baek Myung Hoon put up a block from the gentleman's punch, but Baek Woo Jin doesn't like his brother using his aura to win. Myung Hoon heard that Woo Jin made a bet with his father. The gentleman said he would train his shitty ways and become stronger. It's good that young master Baek Woo Jin will be punished. If he messes up, Myung Hoon will be very happy about it. From all appearances, the imagination of the gentleman's brother is not to be envied. It's all he's capable of. Blackstone advised his apprentice to keep calm, but the master is not good at it because Baek Myung Hun doesn't even let the guy swing his sword. Baek Myung Hun knocked the sword out of the hands of his brother, Baek Woo Jin, but the Lord was not confused even though he was very surprised by his brother's skill. From hating the outcome of the battle not being in his position, Baek Woo Jin activated Razadam's aura, the black wind element. Myung Hoon didn't like that his brother used his aura. The guy thinks it's only fair that he uses his as well. Baek Woo Jin doesn't care at all if his brother uses his aura or not. It's not like the Lord will fight on bare fists. Evading his brother's blow, the Lord swung his sword and struck Myung Hoon, slaying him. As the gentleman watched his lying brother after the victory, he realized that just a little bit more and Baek Woo Jin would lose, even though he was so confident in his victory. Blackstone definitely felt that this time Baek Myung Hun was unusually strong. His movements were light and crisp. Last time, the teacher didn't fully appreciate his master's opponent. Myung Hun might become a strong ability user. Woo Jin had always thought that everyone in this family was talented. Coach was greatly surprised by Woo Jin's victory. He had completely forgotten that there was no one right way to become strong. Apologizing, the coach is now well aware of the young master's skill level, and he also believes that Baek Woo Jin is much better than he believed. The satisfied gentleman thanked the trainer and the rest of the students, saying they would finish tomorrow. The coach, who had come to be horrified, interrogated the lad as to how tomorrow, if the gentleman had said that practice was not to be taken lightly, whether he was winning or not. Mr. thinks he should only fight against well-trained students, not a bunch of retards who don't know shit. Finished for the day, Blackstone and Baek Woo Jin saw a status window open in the sky, with an award issued about the need to completely take away the opponent's desire to train. The young lord in contemplation couldn't understand where such a task, and the 100-point reward given, came from if it hadn't been there before. Blackstone explained to his apprentice that this was, like the last time the reward was given, for a gentleman surprising his teacher's swordsmanship skills by winning a victory. Turning back, the boy saw the messenger with a paper in his hand. The Lord didn't understand what was so urgent he wanted to deliver to him, running so fast after the teacher and student. A servant came over and said that the administrative office wanted to give young master Baek Woo Jin this, handing him a piece of paper. Blackstone, with his eyes wide open, couldn't understand what this paper was, and what the administrative department wanted from his student Woo Jin. This branch are in charge of all the administrative jokes of the Baek Divine Sword family, and deal with requests to the Baek family or their direct missions, the disciple explained to his teacher, and also compile all the documents relating to the family of the gentleman, a kind of company directly connected with the affairs of the vast family of Baek. The guy still didn't fully understand what they wanted him to do. This department had never summoned a lord, not even for personal matters. The Baek family asks the lord to assist in the mission. Details will be told later. The lad needs to prepare in advance, and bring what he can from the Baek family's storeroom. The request didn't exactly come from the administrative office, but from someone outside the family, Jung Joon-hyuk said to the gentleman, meaning outside the family association. The servant explained to Mr. Woo Jin that he only got the paper from the administrative office because he never looks at his phone. But the guy admitted that he hadn't turned on his phone since he registered with the association, so he didn't know about the incoming calls or the same texts. Jung Joon-hyuk asked the gentleman to go back because the administrative office had prepared a detailed clarification and other information. Woo Jin agreed because his training for today was over anyway. Leaving the training ground, the master turned to the students, telling them to recover quickly. They would be sparring again soon. Woo Jin wanted to have as many opponents as possible. Their mouths were wide open. The guys were afraid that Baekwoojin would soon come to the training ground and want to spar again, but the guys didn't like the idea. Taking his phone in his hands, the gentleman realized that the charger was almost dead. Most likely notifications weren't coming for this guy. Blackstone was surprised that Baekwoojin didn't have any friends that he corresponded with or kept in touch with in any way. It amused the boy to hear these words from a man who is 24/7, communicating only with his student. Teacher and student have accepted that they are comrades in solitude, as Blackstone has been locked away in a dark place for 500 years. Looking at the request on the phone, the guy realized that it was a mission to protect the Legion's 1st District. Petitioner Seo Yena, referrer Hong Yingsu, requesting security for the Legion's 1st District for the purpose of resource extraction. There is a place called Legion District where different monsters appear all the time. It is different from the dungeon the Lord went to because dungeons disappear. From the looks of it, this district must be popular, the teacher thought. Isn't it the perfect place to practice since there are monsters spawning there without end? Blackstone asked the master. It makes sense that the teacher thinks so, but in fact, this district is not popular at all. Spawning is the endless appearance of a number of times in the same place. Monsters. Basically, the Legion District doesn't give any mana stones or items. Since people in this world earn money for killing monsters, then it's better to go to the dungeon, said Wu Jin. Hong Insu, the name of the recommender sounds very familiar. To the student and his teacher, the guys thought about it and started to remember. That's right, said the gentleman, it's that man from the last time they were in the dungeon. He's helping Baekwoojin because the guy said he hates Baek's family. Blackstone gave his disciple advice that the next time he met him, he should try to curse his family. Maybe then Hong Insu would give something to the master. The guy laughed and said that if he didn't get snitched on all the time, he'd be talking trash about his beloved family every day. But why is So Yena going to that place? Why exactly was So Yena the petitioner? The Lord pondered, saying that he knows this lady. The girl is the only daughter of the leader of the Magic Guild. They are an industrial guild competing for 1st and 2nd place in manufacturing. They make good quality items. But So Yena came to the Legion District and tragically died, but all the other ability users also died. That day, the Magic Guild searched everywhere for the culprit, but unfortunately, they didn't find anyone. Blackstone said to his apprentice, then perhaps the gentleman should not go there. It sounds very dangerous. No one knows what could happen there. What if the master can save them? He asked the teacher, but the guy doesn't even know how dangerous it is there. Yes, but it's not just for Seo Yena's sake, Hong Insu. The master has him in mind too. The fact that he is a recommender means that Hong Insu is also participating in the assignment. The master was a little surprised. He was so kind to him. Young Master Baekwoojin thinks it would be terrible if such a person died, the guy said with a laugh. But Blackstone had expected such words from his apprentice. In his way a swordsman, a lord should be helped one by one, especially since he was very good at it. Suddenly a new task popped up in front of the guy, linking fates. Wu Jin was presented with an opportunity to save those in danger of death. Need to save the guys from the clutches of death. The Lord needs to stop the bloodshed that will occur in Legion District 1. The reward is an enhancement of the guy's 5 senses during the task, plus 400 points and increased attractiveness. This assignment has many variables. It could be dangerous, but the master thinks he has no other choice. The guy will have to cheat, pressing the accept button of the assignment, said Wu Jin. The master had, after all, asked Blackstone not to go out unless he was in grave danger, but the teacher did not listen to his pupil. But Baekwoojin is far from stupid. Instead of dying, he brought Moon Ju-young along to help him. The guy didn't come unprepared. He brought everything he could from the Baek family's armory. Hong Insu met the guy, asking him to see who else had come to do this task. Looking to the side, the young master recognized this girl. Jungyun was this lady from the underground moles. No one called her, but she came anyway. The Lord didn't understand why the girl had come, but he guessed in the last encounter the guy had messed with the girl, snatching victory from her. In Mr. Baekwoojin's previous life, this lady didn't come here and was alive until the guy died, but now she must have taken courage, Wu Jin thought. Jung Yonghwa thought he would meet Mr. Baekwoojin. What a coincidence that they met here, isn't it? The girl asked the guy. The guy made a calm face and asked the lady with a smirk, and what brought her here, pretending he didn't know what she was talking about. The pissed-off girl wasn't even going to say the real purpose in her today's assignment. She's not stupid after all. Blackstone rolled his eyes and asked the gentleman not to be foolish because everyone came here for only one purpose. It looks like everyone has already come, though not many want to come to the Legion District, so Yena, is happy to meet everyone. The girl really appreciates their responsiveness to such a mission. Hong In-soo, I heard that Seo Yi Nui's goal today is to research. Is there anything else she's going to look for? The man wondered. Sometimes something called black thorny grass appears around the Legion. The girl came to find this grass. The black thorny grass, and in the past life of the Lord, was collected by people, but it's not even very dangerous. In addition, the people gathered here today, Hong In-soo, Jung Yonghwa, Seo Yi Na, and the requested ability user. Blackstone argued to the gentleman that there was no one strong enough to cause trouble here, so once again the task would be easy. Hong In-soo called everyone inside. He thinks the guys will know when we all go in together. The teacher thinks they shouldn't worry at all because Moon Ju-young is with them. Seo Yi Na gave everyone the command to get ready, keep their eyes open because they don't know when the monsters will appear on their way. Hong In-soo said that 2 people should guard Seo Yi Nu, and the rest, including him, would stand guard. Suddenly the Lord saw in the air a time timer for the appearance of the boss. Blackstone has the ability of judgment. This timer appeared when the student and teacher came here on a task. The guy doesn't think that the mass deaths in his past life could have happened just because the boss showed up. Baek Jin doubts it, the leader of the research team. That man, his skills are not so top-notch, but Hong In-soo has quite a lot of experience. This man has been an ability user for decades. Master doesn't think he would let everyone die because of one boss. Hong In would order everyone to flee. Yes, and the monster of the Legion district can't go beyond its borders. Even if a strong monster appears, at the sight of it, you should just run away. In that case, at least one person should survive. Then it would be totally weird if everyone died at the hands of the boss. The guy doesn't think the boss is the cause of all deaths. A man came out of the dark forest, saying that there were other people here before him. All the guys got ready to fight, not knowing who it was walking towards them. I politely introduced myself, saying that it's not often you see a security mission here. Hong In-soo immediately revealed all the cards, saying that he and his squad were guarding a man who was looking for black thorny grass. Thinking that the guys are crazy, not knowing that this kind of grass grows here. It is quite rare, so the man said goodbye to the guys and left. Looking after the man, Blackstone and Mr. Baek Jin felt that this man was a strong, rank 4, topper-prom-wielding man. After the timer of the boss appearance expired, the sky abruptly turned red. Park Yun-hwa didn't expect it to be so unexpected. Out of the forest came a 3-meter-tall berserk goblin, standing upright to face the young lord. He came out of nowhere. Around the Legion, everyone quickly protect Seo Yi Nu, shouted worriedly Hong In-soo. Seo Yi Na began to worry that he was very big and could be very dangerous, but Hong In-soo reassured the girl, saying that she should not worry. The goblin berserker is not as strong as he looks. They have young Mr. Baek Jin and Park Yun-hwa, so he won't be that hard to defeat, said Hong In-soo. Jo Kyung-hwa had previously defeated a berserk goblin. Seo Yi Ne need not worry, only need to keep a distance. The attentive Baek Jin heard the conversation between Seo Yi Na and Jung Yun-hwa, and it was immediately clear to him that Seo Yi Na did not die at the hands of the boss. The berserk goblin, after waiting for a moment, jumped up high and struck Hong In-soo with all his might, but thanks to the man's experience, he managed to defend himself by raising his sword above his head. Hong In-soo shouted to the guys, quickly drop the goblin on the ground. Park Yun-hwa flew up from the back of the goblin, striking it. While beating up the berserk goblin, the girl still had time to talk to Baek Jin, kicking him away, whatever the guy was trying to get in and stop her from killing the boss alone. With anger, the boss began to spew a column of dust, roaring at all his opponents. He let them know that he was going to attack. Not once again. Park Yun-hwa and Hong In-soo take the hit, while the young master stands and ponders a plan of attack. That won't do. If they keep standing still, other monsters will come. Yun-hwa wants to face the boss and just kill him. The girl wanted to ask Baek Jin to help her by attacking the boss from behind, thus distracting him. But before Yun-hwa could say anything, the guy was already standing in front of the berserker. The lovely lady started to shout for the gentleman to get out of there. What was he doing there? But Woo Jin bravely stood holding his sword, standing in readiness to strike the goblin. Park Yun-hwa is doing this intentionally. She is severely underestimating this boss. Even if young master knows these monsters so much, fighting one-on-one with a berserker is too much, said Yun-hwa, flying to protect the guy. But the guy was holding up well. He didn't need anyone's help, much less Yun-hwa's. With one sharp swing of his sword, the lord killed the boss, and only watched as drops of blood fell from the branches of the slain goblin berserker. The enraged Park Yun-hwa didn't expect the guy to kill the boss with one swing so quickly. This is the art of nudging the sword, the guy answered the girl, but the lady still didn't understand where he got this strength and speed from when Wu Jin had time to be so trained in this. Hong Yingsu was also surprised. The master was too fast, the young apprentice was simply handsome. Just like the last dungeon, he personally defeated the boss. Baek Wu Jin managed alone again. Quite impressive for a young man, so it was strange who could learn to handle a sword like that in such a short time. Miss Yunhua would have loved to hear what the young master was hiding, but Wu Jin repeated the same words as the last dungeon. What kind of fool would reveal such secrets? The girl who ran out, So Yena, shouted at the guys to stop fighting and look at what they had been looking for so long. The girl found the right herb, right next to a berserk goblin lying in blood, slain. Rejoicing to the point of madness, the girl just shouted that she had finally found it. It was a black thorny grass. That means the mission has been completed, young Master Baek Wu Jin said to all the guys. Yes, although it went faster than Seo Yena expected, everyone did a good job, said the girl. This security mission was easy, Hong Insu added. The man, noticing that an object had fallen out of the boss, saying they could all have a barbecue together tonight. An easy boss, and a rare black thorny grass. Seo Yena, just like all the guys, didn't expect the item to fall out. Then the murder will happen as we're leaving, the guy thought, all the while expecting something bad. Moon Ju-young sitting in a tree noticed the dark human figure standing right behind Baek Wu Jin. He tried to warn the guy about the danger. He shouted for the young master to move away, because an axe was flying at him from behind, but Myung Ji-young managed to fight it off from a distance and save the guy's life. The guys heard some sound and immediately turned around, but didn't realize what had happened. While the axe flew aside and sank into the tree, thanks to the Lord's servant, Park Hyun-wha and Seo Yena didn't realize whose axe it was and where it came from. Only Hong In-soo immediately guessed where it came from. Isn't this the same axe that the man the boys met earlier in the woods had? The man responsible for So Yen's death told the gentleman that he was good for dodging the axe, but this time he would get the guy. Panicked, the boys asked the stranger why he was attacking them. What had they done wrong to him? The black thorny grass and the bracelet that fell off the monster, isn't that enough for a reason? The man replied, pulling his axe out of the wood. The man actually went back to the same spot, just in case, but he didn't expect such a jackpot when he saw the whole gang assembled. Mr. Baek Wu Jin dared to directly ask the inadequate jerk from the forest who he was. The man replied that his name was Sa Jin Woo. Is he Sa Jin Woo? Park Hyun-wha thought about it, but she immediately guessed that the gentleman knew that man. They say he's a nutcase who kills people he doesn't like, and absolutely anyone could be on that list. The inadequate Sa Jin Woo showed a hand gesture, smiled moronically, and told the guys that he had his own reason for killing people. Myung-hoon told the Lord to deal with him himself since Sa Jin is a rank for ability user, but Wu Jin ordered Myung-hoon to stay out of it. What will the guy be told by the elder? If Myung-hoon helps the master now, it's enough that he knocked the direction of the axe flying at Baek Wu Jin. Myung-hoon is worried about the young guy, but the master said he won't die today. Wu Jin is sure of it. Baek Wu Jin didn't come here to die a senseless death, but if it became really dangerous, Myung-hoon would intervene in the battle without hesitation. Well, Wu Jin needed an opponent to practice on. No one would mind if the master killed trash like Sa Jin Woo, right? Baek Wu Jin, are you crazy? Who do you think you are, going off on your own again? The lady asked the guy. But the master didn't listen to Jo Kyung-woo, asking him to please protect the stragglers, and he could handle this bastard himself. Wu Jin has just reached rank 1. The young lad doesn't stand a chance against this psycho. But if the master doesn't kill Sa Jin, they will all die here. The inadequate psycho threw himself forward at the gentleman, saying that this nice guy is so funny. Sa Jin wants to have fun with Wu Jin today. The guy didn't push his luck and immediately activated the properties of his aura, Rasaduma Black Wind, to level the odds. Sa Jin decided not to play around with the Lord. He came in trumps. Swinging his axe, he began to strike with all his might. But with great surprise, he saw that Baek Wu Jin immediately blocked his punch. Jumping on top, Sa Jin Woo said that the guy is just a kid, he will chop off the master's legs first. Blackstone advised his disciple that he shouldn't worry because Wu Jin could at least read the bastard's movement with his aura. Master should say goodbye to his legs, shouted Sa Jin's threat to the guy, and rushed forward, activating his aura. After a fierce clash of their auras, Baek Wu Jin's own sword broke. Myung-hoon and Park Hyun-wha immediately started shouting to the guy to get away from the blow. Without his sword, he would definitely die. You're really going to die, aren't you? Seo Jin Woo asked happily, seeing that the battle was going to go to him, saying that he would fulfill the boy's wish. Blackstone immediately transformed into his sword form and rushed to his student's aid. The teacher told the master, "Shout out the fragile knight," and then the guy could easily use Blackstone's sword. The status window notified the guy that Blackstone's first sword had been unlocked, a brittle knight of carnage. Because of the Lord's intense tension, the guy's nose bled and his aura power started to disappear, but Wu Jin can't stop now until he's done with Sa Jin Wu. Until all the guys are safely out of the rift, the Lord ordered Moon Ju-young to protect the men, but not like last time. Baek Wu Jin fell to the ground, unconscious, before he could finish his sentence that he had protected everyone, and the guys immediately rushed to him. The boy anxiously ran into his principal's office with news of the inadequate lunatic from the woods. Yi Young-hyun was resting at his desk. When he heard his assistant screaming, he told him to shut up, but the guy told his boss that Sa Jin Woo was dead. Young-hyun couldn't understand what had happened, who had killed him and why. The director started barraging his assistant with questions. Looks like Sa Jin Woo was on the run and hiding in the Legion's territory. That's the only reason why they couldn't manage to find this nutcase. Not that they could dig through that whole huge area, but the person who caught Sa Jin is rather strange. His name is Baek Woo Jin, the youngest son of Baek's divine sword family. Well, if it's not a famous family, the director can guess, but how could the youngest son of the Baek family kill an experienced hunter? Not immediately realizing about the gentleman, Yi Young-hyun got angry and hit the table with his hand. But isn't the guy 10 or more years old? Baek Myung-hun is only 17 years old. The headmistress began to shout. The servant replied that the guy is only 15 years old. The boss tried to calm down and asked his subordinate, Hyo Sob, to tell him something that made sense. Yi Young-hyun suggested thinking about it. A rumor had reached Hyo Soba that the 15-year-old youngest son of the Baek family was now a first-rank swordsman. An angry Yun Hyo clutched Hyo Soba's head with words that this 15-year-old boy was able to catch a fourth-rank criminal, the son of a bitch, but the aide himself was surprised at the news. Even Jung Yun-hwa from the tough Jung family and Seo Yi-na from the secret guild gave their testimonies, Hyo Soba said in his defense. The director couldn't believe his ears, wondering how this young jerk was able to get close to the perpetrator. Hyo Sob told the boss that Baek Woo Jin threw Sa Jin Woo to the ground with his sword nudging art and then used his sword chi. Hitting his assistant, Yi Young-hyun called him a freaking psycho because a 15-year-old youngster with no experience wouldn't be able to use his sword chi. But if that was true, had the most gifted swordsman in the history of the Baek divine sword family really appeared? It's all a dream. Who is this person? Mr. Baek Woo Jin, coming to his senses after a nightmare, couldn't understand what was going on. Who is this man? Though this is the first time I see him, but he seems familiar to me, wondered the lad. As if when Baek Woo Jin used the skill of his Blackstone transformed into a sword, slashing the fragile knight, the guy feels that they are very strong. Blackstone called the lad a squishy weakling, on account of the gentleman waking up only after 2 days after fainting. Baek Woo Jin immediately came to his senses and started asking his teacher why he was lying here and what had happened to him. Blackstone told the student that the guy had only lain unconscious because he used a fragile knight. The master's servant, Jung Joon-hyuk, heard that the guy came to his senses, immediately came to visit him. Jung Joo-hyuk told his master that he had been taking care of him all this time, and he was very happy that the boy had come to his senses. Baek Woo Jin is feeling much better already, only agonizing with the pain in his head from the effects of using the aura. The Lord's faithful servant calmed the boy down and supported him, saying that Woo Jin would soon get over it. A laughing Jung Jun said that he was worried about his master, but there were still people who were more worried about the guy. Woo Jin was surprised at the words, Jung Jun. He had no idea who it could be. The servant asked the master's permission for 2 more people to come in, who were also waiting for their turn to visit Baek Woo Jin. The ladies who are very familiar to the guy walked into the room. Seeing the 2 girls, Baek Woo Jin was even more surprised by their visit. Beautiful bitches came to see me, or are they soulless, not even worried about me, thought the Lord. The girls came to visit Mr. Woo Jin and personally thank him for saving them. If it wasn't for Baek Woo Jin, all the guys would have died in that forest. Park Hyun-hwa said she couldn't react to the flying axe. The girl who fell to her knees in front of the master thanked him as a direct heiress of the secret guild, saying that she was indebted to Woo Jin. The surprised guy shouted at Seo Yi-nu, why is she doing this if she was the one who hired the Lord to guard her? So Yi-na had heard that that criminal was a very dangerous person, and considering the place where all the guys were, even if they died, it would be too late to find them. Bowing her head, the girl said that if it wasn't for the young master, Seo Yi-na wouldn't be here right now. Apparently, more than 10 people from Sarin Woo's family have lost their lives. This time the number may have increased. Young master, stop them, the atrocities of that insane bastard from the forest. Seo Yi-na almost forgot to thank Baek Woo-jin for one more thing. Thanks to the guy, the girl got this herb. Smiling with happiness, Seo Yi-na showed Woo-jin the herb in his hands. Baek Woo-jin was happy that the nice lady took the black thorny grass for her creations. The master asked Seo Yi-na what she was going to do, but the girl replied that it was a secret for now. When she was done, Woo-jin would be the first to see everything. A girl should show gratitude to her savior, shouldn't she? Asked Seo Yi-na, the master. Baek Woo-jin replied that a lady shouldn't give anything to a guy. He didn't do it for the sake of getting something in return. But the young disciple's dagger is broken, so Seo Yi-na wants to give this sword to the guy as a token of his gratitude. This gift is a sword that binds radiance, and the nice lady really wants Mr. Baek Woo-jin to have it. It is designed to fuse the light together. The Lord will be able to use his energy. It increased the strength of his energy. The guy is familiar with this sword. It is a binding radiance, one of the most famous swords of the world. The surprised gentleman didn't know what to say. Baek Woo-jin asked Seo Yi-na if she was sure she wanted to give the sword to the guy, but the girl smiled and said that her father told her to give the sword to the Lord. Baek Woo-jin must accept this sword as a gift or the girl will be in big trouble. The embarrassed guy just melted with happiness, realizing that this gift was now his. After thanking Seo Yi-na, he accepted this sword. Mr. Baek Woo-jin needs to rest, so the lovely lady needs to leave, but she warned the guy that she won't be able to go out for a while. To be fair, Seo Yi-na came to the Legion district without telling anyone, and she was put under house arrest, only being released to meet Woo-jin. Laughing at this news, the guy said it made sense since there was such an incident. Flirting with the gentleman, Seo Yi-na offered to meet again when her punishments were lifted. Blackstone thinks that Seo Yi-na's family is protecting their children, while Baek's family wouldn't even blink an eye. Red Lotus eagerly waited until it was her turn to talk to the guy, as if she was jealous of Mr. Seo Yi-na. Holding out a bracelet from her boss, the girl asked to take this gift as her thanks to her master. Park Yeon-hwa's brother asked me to give this box to Baek Woo-jin. It looks like it will help him with his treatment. The guy was at a loss for words from so many gifts in one day. There was an opportune moment, and Yeon-hwa asked the guy why he lied about not being the direct heir of the divine sword Baek family. The gentleman began to doubt that he had ever said it. He was quite sure he had said no such thing. The lady, who had come to be furious, reminded the guy of the words that he had said that he hated the divine sword Baek family. It's not like the master isn't a member of it, suggesting that Jung Yeon-hwa should shower curses on the Baek family. Divine sword Baek's family is full of assholes, shitty family, not like the others. Woo-jin can insult them as much as his lady asks him to. Red thought the young gentleman was a bit odd, but as it turns out he's a complete nutcase. The cute girl gave Baek Woo-jin what she was supposed to. Realizing that the guy was fine, she got ready to leave. After thanking Yeon-hwa for the gifts, the guy said he would use it properly. Leaving, the girl told the gentleman that next time, she would not lose. Woo-jin doesn't know what to fear, victory or defeat, wished the beauty to do as she knows. After insulting the guy with scum, Yeon-hwa slammed the door with all her might, taking offense at the master. The status window notified the guy about the calculation of the reward for the task binding the fates. Woo-jin's favor for Jok Young-hwa, Hong In-soo, and Seo Yi-na increased. The task was completed. The gentleman was given 400 points. Woo-jin was very worried, but glad that everything ended well. The young gentleman pretended to be confident, but Blackstone believes it was quite the opposite. Of course, how could Woo-jin not be scared when the axe flew straight at him? When the dagger broke, the Lord thought he was going to die. But Blackstone praised his apprentice, saying the lad did very well and even got bonus points. Baek Woo-jin thinks he gets these bonuses when he touches people's feelings. Some strange thing is going on. Blackstone still can't figure out why only the Lord gets such bonuses. Among Blackstone's former owners, there was not one who had that special opportunity. Woo-jin probably likes the system, but it's to the guy's advantage. The gentleman likes that kind of sympathy. Baek Woo-jin thought about real training right after his recent awakening, but the teacher is adamantly against it. The status window notified the guy about the effect of a student ignoring his coach. Woo-jin's recovery speed increased 5 times. The elder heard what had happened in the Legion surroundings. Calling Myung-hoon over to him, he asked him to report the whole situation. Young Master Woo-jin was given an assignment by Seo Yi-na of the Secret Guild. He was to protect her in the Legion district. But during the mission, Sa-jin-woo, a rank for criminal, appeared, and his target was blackthorn grass and rewards from the boss in the Legion district. For this reason, Sa-jin-woo ambushed the young lord and his entourage. Ambushes? The elder thought, this is interesting, go on. The elder shouted to Myung-hoon. Usually Sa Jin Woo uses a sword, but then he equipped with axes to hide his identity. They say this psycho is hiding out in Legion County because he's wanted for felonies he's committed. The elder doubted Myung Hoon's story, asking how Baek Woo Jin defeated that psycho. The guy blocked the axes that Sa Jin Woo threw at full force with a black aura that Myung Hoon had never seen before. Myung Hoon is not sure in front of the old man about what he says about sword energy, but there was a black aura emanating from the young master's dagger. However, it was unlike any sword energy the servant had seen in his life. It broke through Sa Jin Woo's full strength, and was stronger than the sword energy. There's nothing better than hearing that the tough Jew family and the secret guild owes the son of an elder a debt of gratitude. Father praises the young master for the first time after so many years of neglecting him by asking Myung Hoon how many days are left until the test. The elder decided what the test would be for his son Woo Jin. He gave orders to Myung Hoon to bring the Lord to his father. From this day forward, Mr. Baek Woo Jin will have to do two things, under the supervision of his teacher. When there was a choice for the guy, he decided he was going to take his own sword path because he didn't like learning from a teacher. Blackstone approved of his apprentice's decision. The lad would have to practice, putting all of himself into the art of sword wielding. Even if a lord swings his sword only once, that swing must have a definite purpose. Woo Jin is fine with this suggestion, believing that a pointless sword is the same as a sword that just isn't used. And the second is footwork, Blackstone emphasized, knowing the gentleman was learning his family's method. Master has seen Baek Woo Jin use it, and knows that it is passed down to Master from the Baek Divine Sword family. This footwork, where the guy balances using his back and then carries himself forward, is not a bad method, but it doesn't suit the gentleman. Blackstone is harsh with his student, saying that Woo Jin has no place in any skill from the family of the Divine Sword Baek. The young gentleman is quite upset by his teacher's words, but he realizes what Blackstone wants to tell him. The sword art that Woo Jin was currently studying had a high degree of freedom, so one could use it in any situation. But the Baek family skills are too standardized. A guy can use them whenever he wants. Woo Jin needs to repeat them until he embodies the chosen movements and fencing arts. That is why Blackstone told the gentleman that there was no place for him in them, and it was not something that was entirely suitable for an apprentice. The guy realized it faster than the teacher expected. If Woo Jin had studied the footwork that suited him, he would have been able to dodge the axe flying at him when the sword broke. The young gentleman remembers that in that dangerous second, he simply could not move from his seat. The teacher will now teach Woo Jin the right way. The name is Unknown Footwork. The guy will create it with his movements and desire. First, the gentleman needs to spread his feet shoulder width apart. It doesn't matter which foot the guy takes the first step with, but Baek Woo Jin must remember where the sword should be heading while contributing with his feet. The steps of the young gentleman felt much lighter. There is a foregone movement. Baek Woo Jin thinks that impermanent movements naturally connect with each other. This means that wherever the Lord is, he will be able to attack with his sword at any moment. That unknown footwork that a guy can change at will. It's just like Blackstone said, the gentleman thinks he can use it in any situation. The satisfied gentleman smiled at the thought of his own footwork he was creating with every step he took. Elder Myung Ju Young's servant came to summon the young master, as ordered by his father. The boy smiled at the thought that it was his time. Apparently his father had made a decision about the test. The Lord came to the elder, immediately fell on his knees and greeted his father, but his father ordered the lad to rise immediately. As Woo Jin expected from his father, the elder child fainted, but he didn't blink an eye. The boy should know why he came to his father. The elder said he would let his son take the test 2 months ago. Not daring to stall for time, the elder said to get down to business, calling Baek Ho Jun from the shadows. The master had his doubts, but he didn't think this bastard would be Baek Woo Jin's opponent. In 3 weeks, there would be a duel. The guy would only have to use a rank 3 aura to fight Woo Jin. In order for Baek Woo Jin to pass the test with everyone, he must defeat his older brother. Ho Jun is not allowed to use an aura higher than rank 3. If he breaks this rule, he will lose. Father asked Woo Jin what kind of sword aura he used during his task. Father heard that the master had defeated Sa Jin with only 1 strike, his aura. But with all due respect to his father, the young gentleman can't reveal his secret. The father came to a momentary angry rage at his youngest son's disrespectful answer. Baek Woo Jin apologized to his father, but said that since they had a bet, he couldn't say anything to the elder. It seemed like his father had expectations about him because the elder said he would determine the type of test for Woo Jin after he saw what he was capable of. That's why the guy decided on it, as their bet. The gentleman can't tell his rival about his weapon. Well, replied the father, eager to see who would be the winner of this wager. Baek Ho Jun didn't think the opportunity to beat his younger brother, Baek Woo Jin, would come to him so soon. But neither did the master know that he would get the opportunity to humiliate his brother Ho Jun so quickly. The Lord has a real talent for making others want to kill him. Baek Woo-jin should win this duel because if he loses the bet, he's seriously up. The duel won't take place today. Why don't Baek Ho Jun relax a bit while there's still time? Woo-jin waved his hand and left the elders' quarters. The guy knew it wouldn't be easy, but to win against Baek Ho Jun, Mr. needs to think about his plan. Father had told Ho Jun to use an aura no higher than rank 3, Sa-jin was rank 4, so against his brother, Master would be easier. Baek Ho Jun has a lower rank, but he is stronger, his green aura is incredibly fast, and his sword technique is unfortunately very precise. And she changes a lot because of which people call her the Sword of the Falling Flower. Besides, Baek Ho Jun in the past life of the Lord hated him for no reason. At the end, he took everything from the Lord and threw him outside like a garbage puppy, so no matter what, Woo-jin will defeat his older brother. Blackstone did not despair, and suggested to his apprentice that he destroy the entire earth during the duel with the help of the fragile knight. First, the gentleman needs to practice what Blackstone taught him. Put all his will into the sword. It's pretty hard, but the guy can do it. The teacher asked Baek Woo-jin what kind of will he wanted to put into his sword, to which the guy replied, you need to be strong and very fast. Woo-jin, crazy, one would be enough, but the guy wants to put 2 wishes into the sword. The Lord shouldn't be greedy and needs to choose one. The master told the teacher he was crazy. Wouldn't the guy have a better chance of winning with those 2 options? Blackstone was tired of bringing up his student. He just sighed and told the kid to do whatever he wanted. Baek Woo-jin needs to put his will into this wish, close his eyes, and visualize the battle against Baek Ho Jun. Apparently, the kid had figured out what to do. The teacher noted that the start wasn't as bad as he wanted it to be. 2 weeks later, in the great tournament hall of the Baek Divine Sword family, absolutely every member of the Baek family's Divine Sword family came to watch the tournament itself. There was no point in this duel. Even if the master defeated a rank 4 criminal, it was simply impossible to defeat young Gwa Ho Jun. Baek Eun-kyung and Baek Sung-hyun thought the duel was just a stupid waste of time, and Baek Myung-hun was just waiting to see his brother Woo-jin die. Baek Woo-jin chose a great burial place. Baek Ho Jun wanted to thank his brother for such a place. What is he talking about? That jerk, said Mr. Baek Woo-jin, calmly reacting to all of his brother's dumb jokes. Baek Ho Jun, who was serious about the duel, told his brother to say whatever he wanted after the duel was over. The siren sounded for the elder to enter the arena. Everyone immediately bowed their heads in respect. The father told his sons that he was attending this duel not as a father, but as an elder. This duel between swordsmen of different levels would be of great importance to the others. The elder allowed his sons attacks of any kind. Therefore, the fight will continue until one of the participants can no longer fight at all. With a wave of his hand sitting in his throne, the elder gave the order to start in the duel. Baek Woo-jin realizes the importance of an official fight. Soon the guy is kicked out of Baek's family home. The young lord was far from stupid, so as not to risk his victory, he immediately activated Razadam Black Wind's aura. Big Brother was surprised at the black color of Woo-jin's aura, the first time he sees such a color after the aura manifestation ceremony. Baek Ho Jun asked the gentleman, too quickly not to lose to him, or else it wouldn't be any fun at all. Bare their swords, the brothers began to fight, but Baek Woo-jin didn't have the slowing effect from the black wind. Elder brother was surprised at the fact that the master was going to defeat Ho Jun just for a slow effect that hadn't worked yet. If Ho Jun doesn't use a 3rd rank aura, he still doesn't consider Baek Woo-jin his equal. The older brother threw a quick straight punch at the guy, but the lord had time to react and still dodged it, hitting Baek Ho Jun back. The young master shouted at his brother for being too loud and very slow. Blackstone advised his student, approach his opponent with unknown footwork, or it just won't end. Mr. is a petty brute who can do nothing else but dodge. The young student's footwork is not stable yet, but if the guy knows how Ho Jun attacks and dodges, the master has a chance. Woo-jin reads that so far so good, even if Baek Ho Jun's sword art is precise and refined. Big Brother will have a hard time responding. The gentleman needs to move unpredictably and nimbly. The guy listened to his teacher and began to try tactics unknown footwork to accomplish his goal. Baek Woo-jin managed to outsmart his older brother Ho Jun by going behind his back, hitting Baek Ho Jun in the face with his elbow. The gentleman said that this is just the beginning, he shouldn't relax. That little damned brat, how did he have so much courage to hit me from the back? Shouted Ho Jun angrily. The elder brother was tired of playing with the young master, activating his green aura. He rushed forward at his brother, but Baek Ho Jun got even more angry from the insults from his brother, started to use his strength to the fullest. Using his rare aura, Baek Ho Jun jumped up, swinging his sword to strike his brother from the air. "Damn it, it's even harder to get close to him now," Mr. Wu Jin said exasperatedly. Blackstone supported his apprentice, saying that Hyo Jun was only a third rank, but quite intimidating, just as the master himself had said. Wu Jin can only win if he doesn't let his brother use the sword of the falling flower. The guy isn't bad at going on the attack. Wu Jin has trained his strength and body, he'll be able to handle it. Hyo Jun recognized the guy's sword wielding and horizontal cut are pretty good, but the gentleman needs to break his brother's stand or else Wu Jin will lose. Seeing that big brother started to use the falling flower sword, the guy was scared, but stood until the end, not backing down. Baek Ho Jun used his sword art. If the Lord showed even a single weakness, that would be the end of it. The guy needs to bare his sword at least once, quickly and accurately. He should be able to do it. There is no retreat. The young lord, if he stood on his feet, resting on his sword to catch his breath, still didn't give up. It was fun. Baek Woo Jin taking a swing at his brother. Ho Jun said it was time to end this fight. Hyo Jun launched his most powerful aura to crush his brother once and for all and finish him off, but the master stood to the end. If Baek Woo Jin steps back now, he'll say goodbye to his hand, and the guy decides to answer his brother. The guy's wish that he wanted to put into his sword, to make it stronger and faster, the Lord's long-cherished dream, was to crush the family of the divine sword Baek. Swinging his sword, fending off his older brother's attack, Woo Jin did it. He succeeded. A furious and out-of-control Baek Ho Jun rushed forward to finish off his brother, the bastard. Baek Woo Jin would easily be able to block his brother's punch if he squeezed out the remaining aura. The guy's characterization, the art of swordsmanship was increased by 1, thanks to extreme training. The status window notified the master of the opening of the first gate of 10,000 swords and the second gate of 10,000 swords. Baek Woo Jin entered the mode, extremely concentrated, super focus activation enabled. "Still holding onto your sword after what I did to you? Aren't you tired?" Fucking with his brother, Hyo Jun asked him. It can't be. Big brother can't believe his eyes. The master has succeeded. That black aura. The art of swordsmanship involves admiration and strength. The status window notified the creation of a dark imperial projectile. The angered young lord released his aura power with all his might, aiming straight at his elder brother. "What the hell is this?" questioned Hyo Jun, realizing that if he didn't block this strike, he would die. Taking a defensive stance, with his sword, Big Brother realized that his rank for aura was just collapsing. From the great power of the fusion of the two auras against each other, there was an explosion. Ho Jun fell to his knees, barely breathing, bleeding. Young Ho Jun accepted his defeat to his younger brother Baek Woo Jin. Losing consciousness, he just fell down. The guys cheering for Baek Ho Jun stood on their feet, with their mouths wide open. They couldn't believe that the Lord had played this duel. But the Lord was also exhausted to the point of zero, having expended too much aura for such an uneasy victory. A dark imperial projectile, with admiration and strength, perfect for the lad. Blackstone congratulated his apprentice on creating his new sword path. Satisfied to the point of madness, the young gentleman rejoiced in his victory, and had never heard such congratulations from his teacher. Baek Woo Jin turned to the elder, with words like his father asked. The guy won the bet by defeating Ho Jun. The almost joyful elder told his youngest son to do whatever he thought best. Looking at his eldest son Ho Jun, calling him pathetic, the elder said that was all for today. After conducting the duel, Blackstone and his apprentice arrived at Baek Monastery to rest a bit after the difficult fight. Is the guy really going to be in this state every time after using a dark imperial projectile? The problem is that Woo Jin couldn't get his aura under control. The guy needs to wait for it to fill up a bit and then practice using a more precise volume. The young lord didn't argue with the teacher, saying that he wanted to rest, but first to check his rewards. The status window notified the guy of the reward tally, for missions going his own way too. The guy got 700 points and the title of door opener. All stats will be increased by 1. Due to the effects of the title door opener, Woo Jin's own sword path was created, Dark Imperial Projectile. Baek Woo Jin's happiness was unbounded, receiving 700 points and all characteristics were improved by 1. The guy just didn't expect such a thing. The young gentleman shocked a lot of people by issuing a surprise win, earning 500 bonus points. Blackstone is happy for his student, but was surprised to hear that he earned 500 points in addition. But this giving out extra points for surprising the public, the gentleman seems to think the system strongly desires his growth. Blackstone notices it too, and the more people are shocked, the more bonus points the Lord gets. But it's a motivation for the Lord to develop even faster. The system seems to like the guy a lot. But Baek Woo Jin is also good at advancing on his own, the student side, and lay down on the bed, thinking that he was doing well. Baek Woo-jin thinks he couldn't have done it all on his own, but the bracelet that was given to him helped him. When the guy passed out, that woman wouldn't let anyone touch him, saying that this bracelet was Mr. Woo-jin's. The guy decides to spend all those points by raising all his stats to 31. Good idea, said the teacher. With the improvement of all the characteristics, the Dark Imperial projectile will increase in level. The more the Lord trains, the more his level. It will allow for more power to be used as it contains both admiration and strength. That crazy bastard won a fucking bet from his father, said an exasperated Baekun Kwang, cheering for Ho-jun. The elder smiled and accepted the defeat of the eldest son, Baek Ho-jun, recognizing that the Lord had won. The older sister couldn't believe that their father had admitted his defeat in the bet with Woo-jin. The young gentleman lay on his bed, remembering recent events like a dream, only to hear once again that he had won from both his father and brother. If the guy hadn't had experience with the fragile knight, he would have fainted again. Consequences from the use of aura, hard to endure. The young gentleman's psyche impresses Blackstone. Baek Woo-jin had no idea. His sword path opened up right at the most dangerous moment. It was like being in a movie. And there is something good in this bracelet, thought the boy, but the teacher said that it is like a key to the way of the 10,000 swords. The guy didn't know what 10,000 swords were. Blackstone advised him to think of them as a goal he was trying to achieve in the art of swordsmanship. The young gentleman passing along the way can learn more and more information for his skills and growth. Jumping off the bed, the guy decided to start training right now, to get even stronger, and as fast as possible.
Are you out of your mind?
You will die from such an intense training without rest. An angry Blackstone started yelling at his clueless student. Baek Woo-jin didn't want to waste a moment, and train as often as possible. Whether he was tired or not didn't matter to him, especially since he had already died once. The guys saw everything with their own eyes, but still can't believe it. People who didn't see it won't believe what Baek Woo-jin did. Young Master Woo-jin's final sword movement was so monstrous that everyone still can't believe what they saw. Who knew that young Baek Woo-jin would reach such a level of his aura? The guys were pondering on what it would take to join the master faction. Strangely enough, people's opinions about little brother, the family of the divine sword Baek, are changing a lot. Woo-jin's older sister will never forget her father's expression at that moment. She longs for her turn after Ho-jun. Baek Woo-jin should not be underestimated, because the harsh outcome of Ho-jun's lost fight does not inspire confidence at all. The girl gave orders to continue with her intended plan. She must trim the sprouts before they grew even bigger. The girl said to send the third-ranked swordsmen who were currently free, Yo Jae-woo and Kim Bom-suk. No one wants a threat like Baek Woo-jin to be in Baek's magic sword family. The Lord was now releasing an amount of energy commensurate with his level, practicing his skills. Baek Woo-jin thinks he can use the gimmick every time he needs to. Since the guy has no problem using his skill, he wants to start a new training session. Baek Woo-jin had a new assignment, the basics to the very end. The disciple had successfully learned the art of sword nudging and horizontal slash, but had not completed the basic training. The condition will be to practice vertical cutting and sword strokes to open a new sword path. As a reward, the guy will be awarded 700 points. The skill level of vertical slashing and sword striking will increase a lot during this quest. Yeah, it's that basic fencing, unless Blackstone was talking about footwork. The teacher was about to say that the gentleman needs to learn basic swordsmanship along with footwork. I definitely heard you say footwork, the laughing guy told the teacher, pissing him off. Stopping the bickering, young Baek Woo-jin bared his sword, hoping to show his teacher his vertical slash. A servant came running in, shouting to the lad to give the gentleman an envelope with a letter sent to him. Jung Juk-young handed the gentleman a letter with an envelope about the upcoming next mission. Baek Woo-jin had received the same letter before. The teacher became very curious about what this time. This letter will only be given to one of the direct heirs of the Baek divine sword family. One must use the name of the great family for good, removing the risk in the unstable zone of the third rank, in the Taebaek Mountains. The executor of the mission is Baek Woo-jin, Yo Jae-woo and Kim Bom-suk, swordsmen of the third rank. This mark has a name, Divine Sword Duty, which is only given to the heirs of the Divine Sword Baek family. Reading the letter, the young gentleman began to realize that they had already decided to get to the boy as well. Blackstone pointed out that normally you can't take guards with you on missions like this, but it's a good opportunity to get someone in the crosshairs. The duty of the Divine Sword right after the guy defeated Baek Ho-jun, as far as his father knew, he would let him rest first. The teacher assumed that something was wrong. It must be the work of one of the Lord's siblings. Guy doesn't know how she did it, but he suspects his sister, even though the two swordsmen, in a past life, were part of a faction. Baek Woo-jin's fifth sister apparently wants to get rid of her brother, must have thought she'd be next. That means she's up to something. It would be better to disagree, but the guy has to pay back the debt of the divine sword in his life. The master knows there's something very good in that place, so he's in no danger. But if suddenly Wu Jin's sister will play dirty with the guy, he will gladly accept her rules and reciprocate. That same night in the hall of Beck Monastery, the young lord rejoices like a child that he has finally received the debt of the divine sword. A rank 3 mission, for a fellow rank 1 swordsman. The whole picture was being watched meekly by Wu Jin's servants, Moon Ju-young and Jung Jun-hyuk. Blackstone tried to talk some sense into his student so that he wouldn't act like a silly boy and embarrass his teacher. Moon Ju advised Wu Jin to abandon this mission. A servant can't protect the master when it comes to the duty of the divine sword. Mongzhu doesn't know what happens when one swings away the duty of a divine sword. Besides, there will be 2 third-rank swordsmen with the Lord. But it was only a day after Wu Jin defeated young Master Ho Jun. If a guy in this situation got a mission, it could only mean one thing: Moon Ju wanted to change his master's mind. Blackstone understood that the servant was worried about the guy, but Baek Wu Jin didn't want to change his mind. Moon Ju underestimates the guy. He defeated Ho Jun Hyun and is confident that he can easily handle the 3rd-rank mission. "Get out if you keep talking like that, and don't kill the atmosphere before I even started the mission," shouted the guy furiously to his servant. Moon Ju-young didn't argue with his master anymore. Bowing his head, he decided that it was time to leave. The guy realized that his people were worried about him, but asked Jung Jun-hyuk to follow Moon Ju-young. Did Moon Ju-young misjudge the gentleman thinking he was smart, or is Baek Wu Jin just not aware of the situation because of his greed? Young Baek Wu Jin knows what Moon Ju-young is worried about, and thanking the servant for his concern, he said that Moon Ju should trust the guy and just wait. "We need to inform the administrative department that the young gentleman will be taking on this mission." Myung Hun heard the words of the master and guessed that Wu Jin was doing all of this because he knew that they were being watched. Realizing what the matter was, the Lord talked things over with his servants so that they would play along. All goes according to plan. The young master has accepted a new assignment and will set out to fulfill it. No one in their right mind would refuse to fulfill the duty of the divine sword Beck. Even if the gentleman is talented in swordsmanship, then his thoughts surface. He is still a very naive boy. As early as tomorrow, young Wu Jin will be in the front row fighting monsters as the direct heir to the Beck family. Once they are halfway through the stable zone, Yo Jae-woo and Kim Bom-suk will ambush Mr. They are registered as level 3 swordsmen, but they are actually level 4. They will definitely do well. No one knows they are related to Beck's sister, so there will be no trouble. The guys will quietly do their job. The masked man, finish the job. No one will come back from this mission alive. How sad that the youngest son of the Beck family, Wu Jin, is going to die soon. Baek Wu Jin continues to train, building up his sword skills, even though he's about to go on a mission. The teacher thinks the guy is crazy. The master needs some rest before the upcoming fight. The young gentleman is good, in that since the dawn of time, has been practicing the vertical cut stroke. The more Baek Wu Jin trains, the stronger he becomes. It was very different in his past life. The 3rd-level swordsmen were late to meet the master, bowing their heads to ask Wu Jin for forgiveness, but the disciple didn't know them by sight. Introducing himself as 3rd-rank swordsman Kim Bom-suk and Yo Jae-woo, the gentleman greeted the boys, saying that he was glad to meet them. Blackstone thinks the Lord was right when he said the swordsman came for Wu Jin's head. These two said they were rank 3 swordsmen, but they're actually both rank 4. Of course, thought Kim Bok-suk and Yo Jae-woo, arguing amongst themselves that they weren't the only thing Baek-sung had cooked up. Baek-sung has a backup plan. The student and teacher have already met with these people. There will probably be others. Moon Ju-young reported to Baek Wu Jin that all the preparations had been completed and we could move out. The young gentleman smiled and asked the servant if he had put everything in the bag that his boyfriend had asked for. The loyal servant, Moon Ju-young, trusts the young master but has asked him to be on guard and very careful. After thanking Moon Ju for his concern, the guy calmed him down, telling him not to worry and to wait for Wu Jin's return. In the forest by the rift, Mr. Baek Wu Jin of the Baek Divine Sword family was greeted by a guardian, thanking him for his visit. Before the swordsman and the lord depart, the keeper wants to tell us a little about the state of the rift itself. When entering the altered fault zone, it is connected to other dimensions, so the environment in that place has changed. As the lord understands, the influence has spread to the outer area around the rift. Baek Wu Dinner is right, it's usually not as foggy here, there's a lot less air inside. So guys need to watch their breathing. The entire squad must get rid of monsters and plants inside the rift that pose a threat to humans. Everyone realized what the mission was. After talking over all the situations, Baek Wu Jin and his 2 swordsmen decide to go inside. Blackstone suspected something amiss, saying that there is indeed less air here, and the temperature is lower than usual. The teacher realized from Wu Jin's eyes that he was familiar with this place. The master said he even remembered who lived here. Before any of the guys could even go in yet, Kim Bok-suk shouted to the master that monsters had appeared from behind the bushes. Stepping aside, Baek Wu Jin shouted to the swordsman to kill every single one of them. The guy wanted to see how they would do. Yuja Wu thought that the directors usually lead the fight. The guys didn't understand the lord's phrase, kill them in two. The young lord need not waste his strength on some dozen goblins. He thought the fighters were third-rank swordsmen, but to all appearances they were scared. Baek Wu Jin gave his word to the guys that he would join the fight if there were more of them or a stronger monster came. Why the hell isn't young master fighting alongside us against that bunch of scary goblins? Kim Bok-suk asked nervously. Looks like the master's sister didn't appreciate the guy. Baek Wu Jin shouldn't have said he would help the swordsman. The swordsman's plan was most likely to capture the lord as he fought ahead, but it failed. Wiping sweat and recovering their breath, the fighters told the lord that they had killed all the goblins. Now they could continue on their way. Kim Bok-suk and Yo Jae-woo have no choice but to attack Wu Jin as soon as he turns his back on them, otherwise they won't have a chance. Wu Jin decides to deliberately set up a situation where it will be more convenient for them to attack him, so to speak, by predicting the moment of attack. Yuja Wu, without paying any attention, was walking following his path and cut himself on the thorns of some sharp plant. Panic screamed in pain. He didn't realize how he had managed to cut his wrist, but Kim Bok-suk immediately ran over to bandage his friend's wound. In Blackstone's world this plant also grew. It's called spiny ash, the teacher said, adding that things are very bad. Only a special medicine can cure a wound from it. It causes severe pain, seriously distracting from the time of battle. Yo Jae-woo should have put on more protective gear. He lowered his guard due to the fact that he was thinking about killing the bastard Wu Jin. The eager guys followed further. After Sha Wu's bandaged arm, a monster much bigger than the previous goblin stepped into their path. Stretching his arms, the lord decided to fight the monster himself, because it was many times stronger than ordinary goblins, and he offered the wounded man to rest on the side. Rejoicing, the swordsman decided to finish the guy off as soon as he turned his back to them. Ki Bok decided to plunge his sword into the lord's heart, and Yu Jae would chop off his head. As soon as Baek Wu Jin rushed forward at the monster, with the goal of killing it as quickly as possible, the two bastards, Baek Sona's older sister, jumped up, swinging around and leaping at the guy from the back. Laughing, the swordsman considered the lad still very young, saying that the lord was very fast. Third-rank swordsmen only follow their orders. Wu Jin shouldn't hate the guys when he finds himself in hell. Using cunning and activating his aura, the young lord dodged the swordsman's attack and the guys chopped the monster in two. Calling Kim Bok-suk and Yo Jae-woo bastards while clenching his teeth, the guy shouted to them that it was his turn. Puzzled, the swordsman couldn't understand how the lord knew about the attack and managed to dodge, but they knew they couldn't let the guy get away. Smiling, Wu Jin confessed that of course he knew about the attack from the beginning, bypassing the monsters as if they were his friends. But the swordsmen were also confused as to why the monsters did not react to the lord so much, but allowed him to walk so calmly near them. The gnolls have a habit of attacking those who attack them first. They don't see Wu Jin as a danger. The gnolls have identified enemies to themselves, only two more swordsmen, Yo Jae-woo and Kim Bok-suk. The swordsman needs to fulfill the young miss's request, no matter what, and kill the guy as soon as possible. Baek Wu Jin thinks it's funny, the fact that the jerks want to kill the lord, but he couldn't even handle the gnolls having fourth ranks. Due to his lack of skill and little experience, Yo Jae-woo is hit in the shoulder with an axe by Nola, thus dying in this battle. Baek Wu Jin, seeing the whole picture, realizes that Kim Bok-suk will blame the guy for everything, and lashes out at the lord, trying to avenge his friend. The young apprentice had no time to activate the special aura of Razadam, Black Wind, to evade the swordsman's direct strike. Even if the naive swordsman were to fulfill their order from Lady Song, more people would be sent after them to get rid of them as witnesses. Striking a powerful blow back at the second swordsman, the lord kills him by slitting his throat. Had the swordsman attacked a little more quietly and with more confidence, things could have ended in their favor. Just as the lord thought, the gnolls saw their enemies dead, realized that Wu Jin would not harm them, turned around and went into the forest. Blackstone thinks there's no reason for the guy to expend any more energy, it's over before it started. But Baek Wu Jin isn't ready to go on vacation yet. He still has unfinished business with his sister. She most likely sent another person to get rid of these two, but the young gentleman is not discouraged. He is ready to have one more fight, in hopes of bringing this one to a conclusion. Oxygen is becoming less and less, and the fog is quite dense. It's the perfect arena for Baek Wu Jin, waiting for the enemy to ambush him. The guy fucked up when he saw the bodies of the two swordsmen he was supposed to take out, but didn't see the Lord. Using the effect of surprise, Baek Jin jumped out of the ambush, swinging his sword at the masked opponent. The guy was going to kill the mercenary right away, but he managed to block the sword. The Lord sees that he is better prepared than the two pieces of shit. 10 minutes earlier, before the fight with the mercenary, the young apprentice and Blackstone were working out a plan on how to deal with the mercenary. The teacher questioned the guy about what he would do with the third assassin, whether he knew the bastard sent after him. After dealing with those two, the guy wondered how to ambush a killer he didn't know anything about. Baek Jin doesn't know the identity of the assassin, but the guy seems to have a hunch about what kind of ability the mercenary has. Since there's a dense fog here, the gentleman thinks it will be a man who knows how to camouflage well and be unnoticeable. The joyful young gentleman asked his teacher for help in a surprise attack. Sitting in the tree, Blackstone saw the cloaker, but Baek Jin sensed his approach even earlier. "That arrogant bastard, he's here," shouted the teacher to the guy, telling Woo Jin to do a back somersault and attack him. The mercenary has no idea how the young scumbag Woo Jin survived, but he's eager to kill him even more. The assassin has turned the disguise back on. Blackstone will call his location, so the guy needs to focus. "In front of you. Take a step to the side and dodge," shouted the teacher, prompting his student to win. As Woo Jin fights against a man using disguise, he must pierce him with his sword at the most precise moments. Ducking to the side, dodging the mercenary's blow, the young gentleman kicked the assassin in the face from his knee, shattering his nose. While the useless mercenary held his nose, realizing he was defeated, the guy bared his sword and prepared to strike. The Lord released his powerful aura black imperial projectile, hoping to finish off the mercenary and not play with him anymore. Before he could react, Baek Jin's opponent stood holding his nose and flew towards the trees. Landing and hitting his back against a tree trunk, the mercenary died without regaining consciousness. The foolish cloaker, relying too much on his ability, underestimating the Lord, lost his last battle. The student thanked his teacher, saying that if Blackstone hadn't prompted him, Woo Jin might have lost. The guy would like to go for revenge right now, but he won't be able to defeat Baek anytime soon because she's rank 5. If Baek keeps interfering with his brother, Woo Jin will prevent it when the teacher and student get home. Most likely, there will be a meeting. Blackstone didn't quite understand his young apprentice, but he was even more curious about what was at the end of this place. Smiled the guy, replied that at the end of this place, there are monsters and a flower that needs a guy of the 3rd rank. If the young gentleman's memory serves him correctly, this flower should be around here somewhere. It should be looked for more carefully. This is the red flower that Baek Jin was telling Baek Jin about, but Blackstone is very familiar with this flower as well. In the world of the teacher and the young master, they call this flower the morning sun flowers. Supposedly this flower, and the appearance of those monsters from the forest, came from the world of Blackstone. The teacher knows that it is better to pick the flower before sunset, when the flower is at its best. While the guys were deciding how to pick the flower, a monster appeared from the depths of the lake protecting the mysterious morning sun flower. "It's a mud golem," Blackstone said. It wouldn't be too difficult an opponent for Woo Jin. Golems have amazing regeneration and strength. The Lord is not afraid of him because the golem is of low rank despite his appearance. Even if he's low-ranked, Baek Jin will have to destroy his core to win. Blackstone's sure it won't be too hard for the apprentice to deal with the big guy. Woo Jin told the teacher to shut his mouth, he's preventing the guy from concentrating. If the master lets the monster hit himself, the guy is dead. As it turned out, this golem had the same movements as the troll the guy had met in his previous life. If young master Baek Jin didn't dodge the monster's strike and let it slip through, the golem's position would be destroyed. Deflecting the big guy's blow, hitting him back with his sword, using his aura, the guy easily chopped the golem into small pieces of stone. Baek Jin put strength and admiration into his sword. Using his speed he made such a powerful attack, defeating the golem. But the core of the mud golem has not yet been destroyed. The monster can revive again. But the gentleman isn't worried about that. He thinks the core is great for training. Golems waiting and attacking, wouldn't that be useful in real life? Baek Jin wondered. Blackstone considered the young gentleman's idea of having fun with the mud golem, since he knew where its core was located. The guy's all about the training, even though people might think he's crazy. But Baek Jin knows the importance of making a straight line cut despite the swing of his sword. Attempting a strong swing, the Lord cut the mud monster almost into 2 even pieces. Pretty crazy, but not a bad workout from the guy, especially since it looks like the cut is in a straight line, but it's not. If Baek Jin was going to train like this, then he needed to decide on the characteristics of his sword. But the gentleman has already made up his mind. For a vertical cut, speed and mass are affected, and for a strike, lightning speed and accuracy. The golem itself was tired of waiting for the guy's action, saying for the Lord to already put his will into the sword, and killed the mud golem. The sun has already set enough, the guy needs to pick up his morning sunflower and go home, but before that, he has some unfinished business to attend to. With a sharp swing of his lightning sword, he cut off the golem's arm, and pierced its vital core. The status window notified the gentleman of the completion of the task, basics all the way to the end, thus giving the guy 700 points. By calculating the reward for completing the task, in addition the guy got 100 extra points for surprising Blackstone, increasing his friendship with him. The first gate of 10,000 swords, Sword of Delight, and the third gate of 10,000 swords, Sword of Mass, were unlocked. A sword path was created containing the speed of rapture and mass and fog gathering cuts. Teacher didn't know that master had studied this sword path as well. They should quickly take the morning sunflower and get out of here. The experienced jumper, Mr. Baekwoo Jin, carefully jumped over to the flower to take it with him since it was orange and in full bloom. A morning sunflower and a training toy that will never break. The young gentleman was very lucky, but Blackstone thinks a normal person wouldn't use a mud golem for training. Ask Blackstone to open his mouth. The teacher fell for his pupil's prank, after which the gentleman was overjoyed with happiness, and the teacher motherfucked him as best he could. Swordsman Keeper appeared on the horizon, thanking the Lord for a job well done. Not realizing where the others were, the Keeper asked Woo Jin, but the guy replied that everyone was dead, and asked for the data on the mercenary. Baekwoo Jin was attacked immediately upon entering. No one entered the rift. Throwing the body of the mercenary, the guy asked for help to find out who it was. If this person wielding the ability is listed in the database, the swordsman will now quickly verify from the photo. Park Cole-hyun, a wanted criminal of the 4th rank. If you encounter him, run away immediately and report it to the nearest association. He was a very dangerous rank for criminal. The Guardian didn't even know that this madman would show up here. The swordsman apologized to the guy, saying it was his fault because of the horrible crime, but replied that it was no big deal. Hiring a criminal who is easy to expose and use is Baeksung-ar's style, Baekwoo Jin thought. The guy tried to find out if there was a reward for killing this mercenary, but the keeper said he would transfer the money to him after the settlement. The Guardian was very curious as to how Woo Jin had defeated such a dangerous man, but the guy didn't have much trouble kicking the mercenary's ass. Asking the swordsman to get rid of the guys who came with Woo Jin, saying that they didn't deserve to return to the Beck family. Waving his hand, the Lord left. Blackstone congratulated his apprentice on his successful exit from the rift, saying he should get home quickly. Young master is increasingly very curious to see the look on Baeksung-ar's face when he sees his living brother. Her own brother, whom she wanted to kill so badly that she wasn't even lazy enough to hire a criminal. The elder called Baekwoo Jin and Baeksung-ar to him, asking his daughter what she did and what was wrong with it. The older sister was ashamed of her accident, bowing her head and hiding her eyes. She didn't know what to say to her father, while Woo Jin stood calmly. The elder became very angry, and began to yell at his goofy daughter, dragging her out word by word. Falling to her knees, Baeksung-ar admitted that she changed the mission to try to kill her brother Baekwoo Jin. Gave my brother a false divine sword duty, telling the swordsman to go with him and ambush the Lord there. All the members of the divine sword family stood still and listened to their father and sister's dialogue, realizing that Song-ar had messed up. Swearing on anything, the girl was in tears, screaming that it was all true and begging for forgiveness. The elder reacted calmly to his daughter's story, and tried to ask the Lord what his sister had done wrong. Baeksung-ar took advantage of everything she had, but even so can't kill Baekwoo Jin. That's her transgression. Even after hiring an assassin with a criminal background, giving orders to 2 swordsmen, she still failed her assignment. That bastard. This doesn't make any sense. Baekwoo Jin is just a 2nd-rank swordsman, so how did he defeat my men, wondered Sis. But it's impossible to repay the divine sword without permission. It means she was helped by someone above her. And as if the swordsmen weren't enough, she hired an assassin as well, but still failed. That was her fault. The elder told the Lord that he should take revenge on his sister since she tried to kill him. But Song-ar has long had a rank 5 and even a sword squad wouldn't be able to handle her combat skill and experience. The young master is unable to handle his sister at the moment, but if the elder gives the guy time, Woo Jin will definitely take revenge. Father said that the 20 swordsmen included in Baeksung-a's squad would no longer be part of it, ordering her to go meditate by the wall. 9 months. 20 out of 25. The girl's emotions are failing. She obliges to obey the elder, promising that she'll finish with Woo Jin once and for all. Smiling, not the least bit upset, the gentleman waved his hand, saying that this was the end of the conversation. Everyone could go. All the members of the Divine Sword family bowed to their father without uttering a word and left. 9 months is a short time. Baek Sung-ah promised to see her younger brother after she returns. The guy promised to bestow the sister with the same fate as the others. There was already one person as arrogant as Sung-ah who was beaten to a pulp by the gentleman. Smiling, Sung-ah told her older brother that he was overconfident for someone who was beaten by the bastard Baek Woo-jin. Unlike Baek Myung-hun and Baek Ho-jun, who are total losers, Sung-ah will definitely kill the master in 9 months. Her name is the exact opposite of her bitchy character. Baek Woo-jin heard all the conversations, smiled, and calmly said that he was looking forward to finding out which one of them would die in the end. Manhwa ran into his manager's office, nervously asking why he had come, what had brought him. Who were the problem guys who were involved in the offense of the division's ability response division users? Who were they? Sa-jin Woo and Park Chul-hyun, and aren't you supposed to be on duty right now? The boss asked his subordinate. Park Chul-hyun is dead, a 4th-rank criminal. After asking twice, the manager was furious. He couldn't believe he was dead. A database bastard, an ability user whose capture was promised a reward. In the Altered Rift Zone, he was killed by the younger member of the Divine Sword family, Baek Woo-jin. The junior member of the Divine Sword family, Baek, took his head and said that, and again, this young master, he killed Sa-jin Woo. That bastard swordsman was a junior member of the Divine Sword Baek family. How is he doing all this? Not Baek Ho-jun or Baek Sung-ah, but a junior, but he supposedly only recently reached rank 2. How could he kill a rank for mercenary? After killing 2 more mercenaries, he became even stronger. What kind of monster is this? How is this possible? Woo-jin is only a 15-year-old boy. The guy's name is Baek Woo-jin, age 15, with the rank of magic sword wielder, and 5 others, having the 3rd rank, Rasa Duma Aura, a monster getting stronger day by day.